Hey everybody, welcome to Frame Trap, where we just got back from seeing Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
Very enjoyable experience one way or another. This week, I'm super excited about this panel. This week on the panel, we've got Kyle Bosman.
Hi everybody.
Michael Huber.
When does it? This goes up Monday, right?
This goes up Monday.
I hope Finn Balor is the champ.
Just say it. He's the champ.
He's the champ.
Yeah.
You're proud of him.
Finn
Yeah, good
Balor
call.
beat Rollins. Match of the year.
I hope something terrible happens.
I know it's gonna be a good episode when less than a minute in we say Finn Balor. Those two words come out. Ian Hink.
Hi.
And trying to hold it all together, I'm your host, Ben Moore. Something that I just find humorous, as a little anecdote I want to share with you, is every off week on Frame Trap. So Frame Trap is a bi-weekly show, for those of you who don't know. I get tweets saying, when is Frame Trap coming back? And I thought maybe I've just done a bad job of saying that this is a bi-weekly show, but I always find it just a little bit
Instead
humorous.
of bi-weekly, say it comes out every other week.
Yep. Every other week on a Monday. But that's okay. I totally understand. Our schedule can get confusing
We
sometimes.
throw a
It doesn't
lot of
upset me.
information at the camera. at
We
these
do.
galas.
We do. It's
It's
hard to
an
keep track
onslaught.
of. And we have such long videos that maybe getting to the point sometimes is a little bit difficult.
Also, it's a good podcast and people just want it.
People want it.
Well, or they want to know when to avoid it.
Okay.
Sure. Tell me when I need to stay off
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah. So getting started this week, we have a lot to talk about. I think we're going to have many long discussions about many different things, and I think we're going to be on the opposite of the table sometimes, and that's okay.
Ooh.
Makes for a good show. So we're going to start, as we always do, with what you've been playing. And Kyle Bosman, starting at the end of the table, I am most curious about what you've been playing, because I think you've been talking about it the least.
Sure. I think I've been watching the Olympics for 6 hours a day. It's very bad. I've been probably more than that. I've been staying up till like 3 a.m. some nights. But what I'll do is I'll put PlayStation View on my phone and still watch the Olympics while I play games. Been playing a lot of No Man's Sky, a lot of I Am Setsuna, which I talked about last time, a lot of Riptide GP Renegade, which I don't think we've talked about at all, but might save for a Huber syndrome.
Yeah.
And on 3DS, I've been playing a game called Gotta Protectors, which I think I could talk about.
Gotta protectors?
Gotta Protectors.
I think I'm most interested in Gotta Protectors.
Like, so we've got to protect hers? Or the...
Ers. Like, we're protectors. Gotta...
is gotta a pronoun?
It's meant to be a silly Japanese title.
Right.
Gotta Protectors.
I love it.
Gotta space Protectors. Gotta Protectors. So that's a 3DS game. It is stylized like an NES game or almost a Game Boy Color game. Just sprites that are limited to 2 colors, which I really like a lot.
Oh, fun.
It is basically I would call it like imagine a Muso game on NES. Huber's flicking bugs off my hoodie. Thank you, Huber. It's basically you just have to defend a base, or you have objectives of a place to go, but most of the time it's defend your castle. I think it's always defend your castle in the end, really, and just hordes of enemies that come at you, and you just have weapons that just take out hordes at a time. I love the game for the first hour.
Oh,
Okay, that was-
no.
I was waiting for them, like, it's
no.
tower
Yep.
defense or something?
It is. It gets brutally difficult.
Oh no.
And I mean, there is an easy mode. I could just switch to easy. But the grinding is weird. It's the way I want to talk about this game. What I think is interesting about this game is I think that when you play a video game, you expect to unlock abilities at a certain pace. There's no fixed way to say, oh, at this hour I should have this many abilities. At this hour I should have this many abilities. But to me, it's weird to play the game for 3 or 4 hours and unlock only one new ability.
Whoa.
When you know there's more and more coming, and it shows you how many chapters there will be eventually. And so that is extremely weird to me, the way that this game is paced.
Pacing issues.
And yeah, I don't even know if you would call those pacing issues. I feel like it's design. I feel like it's padding. I feel like this game was
Padding.
made to be huge. And it starts off so strong with its story and its level design, and it blows it up. It gets a little too big. It's a portable game. It's fun for what the money I spent on it. I can't praise it. I can't come on the podcast
I
and
mean,
praise it.
you said it's like a Muso game, right?
Yeah.
Dragon Quest Heroes is like the best Muso game I've ever played, and I couldn't get through it because there's just so much padding.
Yeah.
I don't even...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even
like,
think
yeah.
Dragon Quest Heroes is a Muso game in a weird way. Like, that might be why it's your favorite one.
Yeah.
Is because Dragon Quest Heroes, like the structure of it, it's more of like a tower defense rather than the typical Muso objectives. But even that is utilized too much, and so when you're playing it for long stretches of time, like Dragon Quest Heroes is a game that I really loved, but there were moments where I was like, I have to step away from this.
Yeah.
Like I just can't keep doing the same thing again and again. And for you to say that it's an NES Muso, I would immediately worried that something that is like simple, sometimes too much so on current generation consoles, would be egregiously simple in that style. So
The dialogue's fun.
Okay.
It's actually like kind of interesting in a way. It does a lot of breaking that fourth wall, winking at itself, which I hate big time.
Ugh.
Just like, well, this is this kind of video game. Just like, shut up, don't do that. Don't ever do that.
did you ever play
Who's
Retro
laughing?
City Rampage?
No, is that full of that?
I want to have you play that game
Yeah.
just to see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of different though, because right, the whole point of that game is to be meta about other games.
You can do that without saying you
It-
were a video game.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
it is.
I never played it, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's. I just want. I think
Kyle, should
Kyle
play it.
would sum up my thoughts on that game better than I could.
I'll
so-
play the follow-up, the Miami one.
Okay.
That looks cool.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen anything on it, so
Sure.
no idea. Kyle, let's dig into No Man's Sky. So.
Okay.
Oh, we're doing this
Here
already?
we go. We're doing this.
Yeah, why not? That's what Kyle's been playing. We're talking about what Kyle's been playing. Let's dig into it.
Ian, you
We're
can
all friends.
like you can co-op on this. I'm sure you.
I thought this was going to be like
A table discussion.
a discussion of the episode.
That's the thing is we've got so many things to
Jeez.
talk about that No Man's Sky can't even be the Hotake.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Okay.
Much we have to
All
talk
right.
about.
Let's
Yeah.
dig
Yeah, I
into
have
this.
things to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Kyle, I do
Kyle
want to get started
first.
with you though, because I feel like, throughout the course of No Man's Sky's life, several different allies have said a lot about that game.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've kind of remained relatively reserved about it. So now that you've played it, I'm curious what you think.
Sure. This is a game I like very much. I think it's my policy on media blackout paid off big time with this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I didn't listen to the interviews and watch the trailers and go on the message boards and talk about the possibilities of this game. It is an entirely unique game. So the way we have to talk about this game is there are people who are watching this right now and listening to this right now who hate this game. And we kind of have to acknowledge them as well, which is weird to me. When I look at the camera and say I like this game, I'm not saying you should spend $60 on this game. Me personally, I like it very much.
Yeah.
I've never played a game like this, and I realized that I don't like survival games. I don't like games where it's like don't starve, gather
Don't
stuff.
Starve is so good.
Yeah.
Come on.
But it's annoying.
Yeah.
Games like that are annoying. Like where the hunger meter is prohibitive, like where you have to eat
Gotta
like
hunt.
I'm sorry I gave Don't Starve that voice. That was
Good.
rude of me.
Thank you.
I don't like games like Don't Starve. I don't like survival games normally. I don't like
fine.
Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah.
I love going in space. I love having my own ship and feeling like that's my ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the feeling of going into a space station and there's some weird alien there. I did not know this game would have aliens.
I didn't know that either.
That was such a cool, fun thing to see.
Yeah.
That I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just having a good time adventuring through space, I guess. I'm getting to a point where I don't feel progress.
Yeah.
I'm getting to more and more of what Atlas tells me to go to,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like I'm doing less and less new stuff. And so it is getting to the point where it's like, okay, show me what's next.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm there. I'm still digging in. I'm still loving it. I'm still playing it.
Definitely.
I've only Ian, you're gonna have a ton to say. I don't have that
Yeah,
much to say
yeah.
because I'm not super far into it. But I love it so far. I'm just not far enough to like have a great discussion about it.
Sure.
But from the because like all the criticism I've heard has been like, well, once you get 20, 30 hours in, it's just the same thing over and over, and that's like the main criticism I've heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
But from the beginning that I've played, I'm like maybe 7 or 8 hours in. I love it so far as well, and just like going up and seeing the aliens on the ship and like learning the languages.
I love
Like
it.
I'm such a completionist too, so this game is
You'll never ever.
this game is
Yeah.
an absolute nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Because every time I get to a planet, I'm like, well, I'm gonna walk around this entire planet. So like, the way I play games,
burden.
yeah,
That's terrible.
yeah, it's I'm going to have like Brad next to me saying move on. He's like really good about like
I think you'll
making
get there.
me go.
Once you recognize the patterns, I think you'll get there.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten to the point where, well, I'm sorry, you keep going.
No, I was just saying the languages thing is my favorite part. Again, Media Blackout had no idea like any of this stuff was in there.
Yeah.
And I again, I'm not far enough to know if, maybe Ben can say if it's not a spoiler, I'm not far enough to know if the criticism about the repetitive nature at the end also has to do with the learning languages, because learning languages seems like it would take forever.
You're not meant
explain
to
to-
learn every word.
To explain to
Can
people
you,
what
though?
learning languages
Maybe.
means in the context of the game, though,
Yeah.
is there are 3 alien races. Maybe more, who knows? I think there are 3. There's sometimes puzzles. You walk into a room and there's a puzzle for you, or a dialogue. Somebody will talk to you, and you'll see highlighted in blue in English or whatever language you speak, listener, that you'll understand some of it. And so basically, that feels like progress. The more languages
Yeah.
you pick up, the easier those puzzles will be to solve, and the more you'll be able to communicate with people and actually give them what they want.
Like just like even on like a emotional level and just beyond like simply progressing in the game, learning, like leveling up your language skill. It's
Yeah.
like learning to communicate with the universe, and I'm just
You wanna hack? If you
Yeah.
so if you talk to a person in a station or wherever,
Yeah.
after the first little puzzle, you can alternate where if your standing is high enough with them, they'll say, give me request fuel, request healing, request shields. Say fuel. So far they've always given you carbon, which is what you need to talk to them every time. They give you, I think, more than 20 carbon. So you request fuel, and then the next one, the bottom one will be request new word. So you can just bounce back and forth between those two indefinitely, forever.
You can grind those people?
You can grind those people.
what?
Oh,
So you can
I
learn
did
it,
not know that.
You can learn
Yeah.
every language.
Well, I
just
mean,
like that.
it would take forever, but
It would take
like,
5 hours of
But
straight
the
grind.
faster way to do it is Atlas
What?
interfaces, and like that's the thing. The longer you play this game, you see the patterns. And
Did
like
the patch fix that?
I don't know. The patch that just happened, I'm not sure what was
That
in it,
ruins the
but like
discovery
there
for
was
me.
some new materials I hadn't seen that were referencing freighters and base building. So I was like, what?
Yeah,
Whoa.
That's what they've come out and said with
Yeah.
the day one patches. That's what they're working
That's what
on
they're
next
working
is
on,
the
yeah.
base
Base
building.
building.
I just didn't
and
know if it
giant
was in there yet.
Freighters, yeah.
What I want is a ship that you can be flying and then step away from the cockpit and walk around on your ship and like go back to your little quarters and like go back to this and that. Like that would be awesome.
I think your tiny ship would need to dock into
Dock
that ship.
into
Yeah.
that ship.
Because
The
that
ability
ship wouldn't be able to
The
land,
ability
really.
to have multiple ships would be sweet.
Yeah.
Your like garage. Your
Yeah,
freighter
you
garage.
fly in like a station. Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
great.
Okay. Oh,
But
yeah.
like,
Let's hear it, Ian.
all right, so
I'm excited.
I like this game. You know, I love this game. I like it. I think it's fun. I think that, yeah, once you look at it for too long, you see the patterns. You say like, oh, I've seen that exact plant on 3 planets. And oh, I've seen that creature before. But then sometimes you land on a planet and like this giant Tyrannosaurus turtle that's like 8 times bigger than you walks by and you're like, whoa! And you know, so like there's still fun stuff to discover. And like the thing is like, I know I'm saying like a lot, just get used to it.
It's California, baby.
I give it a pass in that regard because of the nature of the game. It's a quote unquote infinite universe, and it's based on algorithms, and for that to work in a satisfying way, it kind of has to be the way it is. Like I would love for there to sometimes be planets with alien cities on them or whatever, or you know, I would love for there to be a planet that just like has some crazy thing on it, and like maybe there are, but for those to be rare enough to be interesting, they would also be statistically nearly impossible to find. So like it's a give and take, and I think the game does a good job of like when you see these anomaly ships or whatever, like things that dole out in certain, you know, things. But I've maxed out my exosuit slots. I've got a ship. I don't need a bigger ship. For my playstyle, I don't need another multi-tool. Like I've had the opportunity to get way better multi-tools. I saw a thing on whatever site that said a person played the game for 25 hours, maxed out their exosuit slots, their ship slots, and their multi-tool slots without ever leaving their first planet. And like everyone was like, "Isn't this cool? It's not tied to exploration. You can just do it in any way you want." And I was like, "Well, you ruined this game for yourself, friend." Because like getting new slots and looking for drop pods and like trying to get better stuff is the game. There's nothing else for you to do now except for get to the center. And that's kind of what I've realized. And like I loaded up your review, and I'm not saying this as like a slight, but I loaded up your review and I like thought for
Slight incoming.
no. I
Prepare for
thought
slight.
I like
6.
thought for like a good like a minute maybe if I wanted to watch it or not because I knew it would jade me on the game, and it did, but like
It was not the intention.
no, I
Slight
know.
received.
I just knew that it would to me because that's how I react to things. But I mean, did that offend you? That didn't.
No.
That's not a slight.
I'm just joking. I really am.
But like, because it showed me, yeah, like okay, other people are having the same thoughts that I'm having about the negative aspects of this game.
Mm-hmm.
But the criticism I have on the criticism is, I have people are throwing out like times like 15 hours in we got bored, 30 hours in.
Don't do the movie
like,
ticket thing.
8 hours. No. I'm saying like, no, I'm doing the video game thing. Like Proteus, which to me is a really close comparison to this game, is an hour long.
Yeah.
This game entertained me for way longer than that.
It's funny
Uncharted
when-
4 is
Yeah.
a 12-hour game. It's a different experience, obviously. But like,
It's funny how 10 hours in one game is more than enough.
Right.
And 10 hours in
whereas
another
10
game
hours
is
in
like,
this
what the
game is
hell?
like, fuck this game.
No,
I paid
I-
$60 for this shit.
I actually think something that a lot of the criticisms haven't nailed, including my own criticism, is that it's not about the amount of time and then you get bored. It's not like that. It's that at a certain point you see something and it actually kind of devalues what you initially saw, which is rare because I've played games.
Is it the center of the galaxy or the Atlas interface?
It's kind of everything, and so the one thing that I mean, I've said a lot of my thoughts in the review, but something I want to say about No Man's Sky, where it turned for me is I remember being in such a high. Like I was texting you and being super enthusiastic and loving the game.
Yeah.
It was funny because Omar turned to me. I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings.
Slight.
Slight
No.
Embrace for slight.
No, but I'm just saying. Omar turns to me and I was playing No Man's Sky and he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I love it." And then he goes, "Ben's gonna give it like a 3." And I'm like, "No, he said he really loves it right now."
Yeah.
And then Omar's like, "Nah."
Remember though, when you review a game, you gotta be critical of certain things.
Yeah. I just think you have to be honest. I think
Yeah.
if you can approach any review and be honest, then you've accomplished a goal, whatever you score it. So
Yeah.
anyway, what I wanted to say is I really liken my No Man's Sky experience to Wizard of Oz, and in the Wizard of Oz,
Oh no.
Don't look behind the curtain.
there's this myth about the wizard and that you build it up, and I think when you're first playing No Man's Sky, you can kind of buy into that. It feels really exciting. You do have those moments with the Atlas interface, with the black holes, with seeing the weird creatures. But then there's a moment, and I'm not saying it happens for everybody, and maybe it won't happen for everybody, but there was definitely a moment for me where it just all of a sudden it breaks, and it doesn't just break one little thing, it starts breaking the entire game.
Right.
Because when you first get that suit upgrade, you're like, yes, awesome, I need this so bad, I'm constantly out of suit inventory spaces. Then you realize, no, there's actually these things are generated in an extremely predictable way.
Right.
I know exactly how to get like 10 more suit upgrades right now.
Right.
There is no discovery. It's just like I just go and do this thing, and it's very simple because this algorithm is so predictable. Or when you go to when you find a trade outpost, that first time you find a trade outpost and an alien's there, and he's like, all right, let's trade with this guy. What does he have to say? Oh, he's part of this proud Viking warrior race. That's amazing. And then you warp to another star system, and you go to another trading outpost that has the identical architecture, and it has an alien that looks almost the same, standing in the exact same spot. And regardless of
Sometimes they're in different spots.
Yeah, but I'm saying a lot of times they are in the same
Right.
spot. Or you'll go to an abandoned building and it'll have like this creepy backstory, but then you go to another planet and it has another
the exact
abandoned.
same abandoned
yeah,
building.
and it's just I just don't think there's enough there, and it was really weird because it got to the point where I'd be discovering things and there was no joy to it anymore because it was like somebody was presenting me something and they were just shuffling it around a little bit, not actually giving me something
and that,
new.
To me, that
really
means
take a
is
thrill in.
like, I think this game is more about the stories you make for yourself than every gun tells a story.
Yeah,
I mean, as you hopefully watched on Easy Update on Saturday, I found a planet filled with these things called sac venom, which are these little pink balls that if you get too close to them, spikes shoot out, and they retail for like $40K a piece. And so I sat on this planet for an hour and I made 10 million units. And I would go to a trading post I found a trading post and I would sell all my stuff. I would fly like in a different direction, park like within eye shot of the trading post, get all the things, and you have to fight sentinels every time you pick one up. But right now there's a glitch where if you kill the cat sentinel in the right way, it won't actually die. So then you get the maximum timer for the sentinels to go away. So then you just do that first and then just collect a bunch and then go back to the trading post. But that was fun. And then I bought a ship. But then it was funny because like my ship has 29 slots on it, and now I'm seeing ships that have 37, 40 that retail for like 37 million units, and I'm just like, oh, all right, well, none of that matters. The thing that gets me is like I finished the Atlas. I've done everything. I'm like, now I'm literally just trying to get to the center and landing if I need to build warp cores.
So there's an end to the Atlas story, and
There's
then
an end to the
there's
Atlas
basically
story.
a post game is get to the middle of the galaxy.
Yeah, basically. But given how what I was gonna say, given how the Atlas interface story ends, I have zero expectations.
The center of the galaxy.
As long as it doesn't just say this is a video game, like
It was a sour note for me personally.
yeah.
Wow.
The Atlas interface, like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you know there are text prompts when you talk to things and when you go to the Atlas interfaces and tra-la-la. And if you do the Atlas interface story and don't waste these things, you can do a thing at the end that's cool in theory, kind of, except when you think about it in context of an infinite universe, it loses its meaning. But it just tells you a thing. It doesn't show you. It doesn't give you any information about it. I'm like, show me a little video or something of this happening. Like,
Wait, should I keep my Atlas stones?
yes.
Yeah.
I've been selling those.
Oh, then stop doing the Atlas story.
Oh no! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so valuable though. How many? You
You're
kept
an
them all?
idiot. Yeah.
No,
What a
Kyle, you're
waste
not
of
an
your
idiot.
inventory.
I was selling them first too, and a lot of people sell them at first.
I mean, the funny thing with this is it's like Souls, right? It's like Dark Souls. You're not an idiot. That was harsh.
Yeah.
It's like Dark
Slight.
Souls, where it's like never,
Slight count. We're at 3.
never sell your boss souls because you can always get more souls. You can always go to a planet and sell a bunch of emerald.
I was
And-
selling him at the very last boss. It's like, all right.
Something you
payday.
brought up that I think is an interesting point is, you know, your favorite thing about the game is you telling your own stories, or it enabling you to tell your own stories. And that's my favorite thing in games. When a game, when its systems work in such a way that you want to go to your friends and you want to be like, this crazy thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it. And that can definitely happen in No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, I've had moments where the systems stack in such a way I'm like, oh, that was a cool moment. But I think all of the systems are shallow to the point that it doesn't happen maybe as frequently as I would like. Because you guys were talking about the survival aspect. And I don't think it needs to happen all the time, but I feel like No Man's Sky just rarely pushes you. Like,
You're never at risk.
you get to a point very quickly where once you kind of understand how the game plays, you honestly feel like a god. I didn't die.
Even in space battle?
Even in space battle.
Wow.
Space
Yeah.
battle,
That was just my experience.
the only time I've ever died ever is in space battle, and that was like, I don't know how, I have no idea how long I've been playing this game, but that was like you'd beaten the game and the review was up before I'd ever died, and I started playing the game before you did. So like, I'd never died at all until I did, because I got a new ship and I had no weapons at all, because I was like, screw this, I don't need this. And then I got blown up. But like, dying, you don't lose anything. You lose whatever's on your ship. So like,
and then
I've
you can
taken
go back and get it.
Yeah,
You can retrieve your
But aren't
souls.
the bad guys still there? So you're just gonna die again?
No, they leave.
Oh. But like, the funny thing is now when I get into a fight, like last time I got into a fight, I just started taking all the valuable stuff off my ship and putting it onto my own inventory. And then I
funny.
fought them anyway and won. So I was like, oh, I guess my ship is good now. But yeah.
I think it's kind of a seesaw argument for me because, if you say, well, I don't think this game pushes back enough or is challenging enough or changes enough over time in terms of difficulty, then you could say, well, it's just supposed to be a chill out, explore space game. And then the argument for me is, well, I think you get to a point fairly quickly where there's not that much worth exploring. And so it just kind of...
The weird thing to me is, there's a really easy way for them to make the game progress, and it's that... And maybe it does this, I don't know, but the closer to the center, the weirder things should get.
They said that happens, and I noticed that a little bit.
I've noticed, maybe I've found a few more rare items, and the Sentinels are more aggressive, but... Also, Atlas passes are prohibitively obtuse. I didn't realize that you had to bust into pointless operation centers to try to get Atlas Pass blueprints. I thought I had to find those ships because the first one gave me an Atlas Pass. So I was like, oh, that's how you get Atlas Passes. Cool.
How do you get more?
You have to bust into operation centers and hope that you get that blueprint.
Oh, you just gotta
It's
look out.
RNG.
Sure.
They're actually... I've heard multiple ways of getting Atlas Passes.
Really?
Yeah.
Though, yeah, I looked it up because I was like, how the hell do I not... I have literally beaten this game without... I haven't gone to the center of the galaxy, but,
Right.
I've hit the wall, and I don't
Your
have
numbers are
Atlas
big.
Pass V2 or 3.
Ben, have you ever played Nobi Boy?
I have.
That thing we talked about just now where lots of goofy stuff occurs and you want to tell stories about it?
Yeah.
I had more of those with Nobi Boy than I had with this game.
Absolutely.
To me, that's... Maybe this game would require aliens who just simply walk around. Interactivity beyond dialogue that was already pre-written.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what it would require for it to be like this crazy thing happened to me. To be honest, I can't tell you on this podcast a crazy thing that happened to me while I played this game.
And it's weird because I feel like, and I'm not saying every game has to be like this, but imagine if you could just fly your ship over a trading outpost on a planet and just blow it up, and having the aliens get mad at you, and then suddenly...
I've never tried fighting them.
Not really.
You can fight the freighters out in space.
You can, and you can
and they get mad at you.
Yeah.
But
Do
then
you
that's
get
it.
anything for that? Do they just blow you out of the sky and then it's over?
No, they got some rare materials on there that they're shipping around, and you can shoot them, and then basically like Metroid, you pull up the items. But anyway, keep going.
No, it's just... I mean, maybe that was a poor example there that I just said with the trading outpost, but I'm just... your interactivity with the world feels very limited in ways that maybe you wouldn't expect.
For me, No Man's Sky... You know how I play video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
All lights off, headphones, total darkness. For me, No Man's Sky is a Sunday afternoon game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pull open the shade, pull them open a window, just chill out and cruise in space.
Put the
And I
Olympics
think,
on your phone.
Exactly, and I think, Kyle, you nailed it too. You're having so much fun with it because you kept your expectations in check. You went media blackout. You didn't assume what the game would be.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's funny, Deus Ex is kind of a hot topic right now, but and Witcher 2 to an extent is I tried to stop
Witcher 2 or Witcher also?
Witcher 2.
Ah.
I assumed that those games would be something that they didn't turn out to be. And those are two of my favorite games, but I kind of disappointed myself because I put these weird thoughts and expectations. I was like, this is gonna happen, And then when that doesn't happen, you're really disappointed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing with No Man's Sky.
That's
right
what
now.
happened. This is not a
I don't think
hardcore
that
space
happened to
sim.
me, though.
With No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
I think it happened to all the detractors, though.
I feel like I'm a detractor, and I went in because I did
You
see
were
a lot
so
of that.
hyped and
Yeah,
ready,
I was hyped, but I honestly had no idea what it was going to be, and so I
Yeah.
didn't say I want this out of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But you're right. There were a lot of people that were like, all right. They were telling their space stories already. And I'm like, well, the game isn't even out.
Yeah, it's not a hardcore
So.
space sim. It's an art game.
I'm just really...
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that, the game is maybe down, but it's certainly not out.
Yeah.
Destiny
totally.
the Taken King
Yeah.
Totally.
was redemption for Destiny. When Destiny came out, it's a very similar situation. Everyone was like, dude, Destiny is going to change video games. I'm going to be playing Destiny for the rest of my life. And it's like, you beat that game in 5 hours.
Yeah.
And
then the
But
first
some
3
people are still
DLCs you
playing.
beat in 20 minutes.
Well, and people still played it. They did the raid and whatnot, but the casual Destiny player, beat the story and was kind of like, well, that's it.
That made no
Taken
sense.
King came out many months later and has completely changed that game structure and the way the game is played. They added side quests and all this, And I think No Man's Sky is just getting started.
A year from now, No Man's Sky is gonna be bonkers.
Yeah.
Huber, I think you bring up a really good point because a lot of people get cynical with the way games are changing, and they're like, I want it to be amazing day one. I'm spending this money on, and you know what? They're totally right for saying that. I think if you spend money on a product and you're disappointed or angry or whatever, like those are totally legitimate feelings. But in a way, it's kind of a cool thing because in a different era, the games that were disappointing or under-delivered or just flat out bombed for whatever reason, that would be it. That would be their mark in history. Yeah. And now we have a chance for it not to be that way, and I think that's kind of cool.
Totally,
in its own way.
Well, Ben, when you played through Battletoads, and you said this game would be legendary if this level wasn't so hard.
Yeah.
I'm positive you were right. Imagine if they patched that third level.
Yeah. Like how much that would change your impression of that game. Yeah, totally. There is something important that I want to cap off the No Man's Sky discussion with, if that's okay.
Sure.
In light of this No Man's Sky stuff, I apologize that I keep messing with my phone. I'm doing it for like show stuff, so I'm sorry if that seems rude, but it's kind of a necessary evil.
It's got a timer on there.
Yeah, I got a timer on there. I got to keep track of it. Something I want to cap this off with is with the No Man's Sky stuff, people have justifiably gone back to that old E3 2015 No Man's Sky discussion between myself, Ian Hink, Michael Huber, Brandon Jones, and there's something that I want to say.
Discussion. Screaming match.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of the point I want to speak to is I said things that weren't like only about No Man's Sky. I was trying to talk about like how games are structured and how like a lack of pointing you in the right direction can be a very cool and fulfilling thing. But I did it in like a needlessly aggressive, like totally immature way. Like it's one of those videos that like I hadn't seen since last year, and I went back and watched it. It's like, I sound like that? Like I sound like you just. It's one of those videos where you watch yourself and you don't like yourself. And so I want to.
Every video for me.
Every video for me.
Yep.
No video for
I'm
me.
just like, oh
ever.
my
a lot of people
I'm so annoying.
were angry at me for the way that I presented myself, and I want you to know that I'm angry for the way that I presented myself, and so like. I totally get where you're coming from, and like there were meaningful things to say there, and I think there was a point, and I just like totally squandered it with a shitty attitude. So I apologize.
It was the end of a 13-hour day.
Yeah.
We've been there
Context.
forever.
Yeah, there was
E3, and it's passion.
It's
you know,
E3.
if you get that angry about a video game, it means you care. It means you love it.
What happens
so
in E3
much.
stays in E3.
all those things came to my mind. Like that was immediately what jumped in my head. I was like, man, like that was a day where I was just totally run ragged, and like I was on edge for a bunch of different reasons. But then it made me realize like that doesn't matter. Like when that video goes on the air, you don't get to like wash it away with that. Whatever you put out there, you have to be responsible for. And it like was this really important moment for me where it's like, yeah, like you don't just get to delete that, and it made me realize that what you say you have to take
It's kind of scary
responsibility for.
because like celebrities can be good people for 20 years and then they say one weird thing out of context, and that's what everyone remembers him for. Like, oh, he's on my blacklist. F
Totally.
that guy.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's kind of scary.
That's what the audience does, and you have to just take it and recognize when you mess up. So, yeah.
That's like my greatest fear. Is like
One
trying to live a good life, and then like one day I make some joke about like something untoward.
Yeah.
And then like just never again.
And the thing is, you realize that like no, I'm totally gonna say stupid things again. You know, like you do this long enough.
We are
it's for
but
sure gonna
human.
happen. Yeah, you're gonna be wrong, and that's okay. But moving on, let's bring some unadulterated.
Dude, I'm ready.
Excitement.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, what have you been doing, Michael Huber?
One game and one game only. I usually talk about like 10 things on here. We're talking about Banner Saga.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited.
Dude.
I'm so excited.
Dude.
I want to hug you right now.
Oh my god. This is Vikings on the Oregon Trail. That's what this game is.
Good pitch, Huber.
It
Well done,
is
dude.
unbelievable. I don't know how the hell I missed this the first time around.
Yeah.
The reason I bought it was because PSN had a sale on the bundle that's part 1 and 2. It was a PS Plus sale, parts 1 and 2 for cheap. I was like, scoop that up. So, scoop, gotcha.
God, I love you. Okay.
You can import your saved also to like the next part, which is cool.
Oh.
This game is a feast that I just could not stop playing for like 4 straight days. It was all I was playing for 4 days. It's not that long, but it was each night I played like a good chunk. It is high stakes. It is everything I love about video games. Everything is meaningful. It has so much emotion and strong characters. I love turn-based combat. It's like Final Fantasy Tactics combat. So every encounter you get in is do or die, high stakes.
Permadeath?
No permadeath in combat, but choices you make outside of combat, like Oregon Trail moments, people can die.
Okay.
Like, one of my favorite guys died. He was like hanging on no spoilers because it's like kind of choose your own adventure thing.
Sure.
My best guy, Viking with like a giant battle axe, was hanging from a cart. And I did the wrong thing, and he fell to his death.
What is the wrong thing? What were your options, man?
He's like holding the cart with gold,
Yeah.
and I was like, just let it go. And he was like, no, it's my duty. And there's like a thing on it. There's like a bad guy on the cart as well. So then it was like, he's like, no, I'm not gonna let it go. So then it's like, all right, what are you gonna do now? He's not gonna let it go. So I tried to like shoot an arrow, shoot the thing off, and it died, but then like tumbled into him, and then he fell down and bones broke, dead.
Question.
Dead.
Is this a game where it's like constantly autosaving all the time so the decisions stick no matter
Yes.
what? Okay, because I think that is very, very important.
Spoiler alert, I filmed my Huber syndrome before this, but my next episode coming up is about saving in games and like perma-save, autosave, Dark Souls style, which is pretty funny.
That's a good topic. I like that.
And so, just the currency in it, I really like. You get renown, and you can buy supplies with the renown, or you can level up your characters with the renown. To be able to level up, you have to get a certain amount of kills with a character. And this currency I really like, because when you're on the long road, you're just using supplies. You're always out of supplies. And some places you get to, they're more expensive than others. So it's like, when do I buy supplies? Do I level up one character at the expense of supplies? Do I level up one character really high because it gets more expensive? Do I level up a couple characters a little bit to do better in battle? So it's like always managing these supplies, knowing who to trust. You're constantly on edge. It's just dire straits the entire way through this game.
And you're into it.
Love it.
I need to play this immediately.
You
were selling me so
Ben,
hard.
you will be obsessed with this game, Ben. This is a Ben Moore game for sure. 10 out of 10 for Ben.
What?
Yeah. You would love it.
The way they present these decisions is so cool.
It's like D&D style Oregon Trail. You know, there's no cinematics or anything. It's like text based. You know, this happens. But just the world they've created with there's humans and then Varl. The Varl are giants
With horns?
with the horns. So there's like 2 species, and then there's like the villainous race of the Dredge. And just about the gods, and the gods created the giants. It's just a beautiful game. Austin Wintory does the soundtrack.
I think you kind of touched on it here, but something that has always stood out to me about the Banner Saga is just the look of it and how distinct it is. Is that
Beautiful.
Is that even better in the game,
Yeah.
like itself, when you're playing it?
It reminds me of the first couple minutes of Sleeping Beauty.
Oh wow!
That like cool stained glass art style. And then your decisions carry over to the next one, which I haven't started yet. I'm so pumped to start Banner Saga 2. And then 3, who knows when it's come out. This game was made by 3 people.
Really?
Stoic Games is 3 people. Credits roll, and it's like programmer, writer, artist.
Cool.
Done.
Really cool.
Yeah. And then, of course,
Sony for like 100 hours.
Sony for 100 hours, and then the symphony was the longest part, like trombone, clarinet. And like,
You know, it really. I'm so happy that you said you can't wait to start the next one because I think that is the mark of an incredible game regardless, especially one with such stakes. Is sometimes I play games where they present decisions that are intense, but in the end they just kind of end up making you feel bad, and then once you finish you're like, all right, that's enough of that. But if it can do it in a way where you're ready for more, I think that's remarkable.
It's a pretty brutal game.
Yeah.
Like, it's high stakes. It's brutal. It's a brutal game. And then you can also like buy items. You can only level up to 5, which I like. So every time you level up, it's very meaningful, and it's really expensive. Like, you never have enough supplies or renown.
Economy,
high stakes economy. Oh man.
What if Austin Wintry, like the air around him was always like slightly colder, and like kind of like there was like frost around everything he was near? That'd be funny. Let's think about that.
Nice.
His iPad is always broken.
Yeah.
He's got to buy new iPads.
Why doesn't this work? His girlfriend is just like,
But so when I was younger, I was like a sophomore in high school, and I remember reading Watchmen for the first time.
Nice.
And then I was like, Alan Moore, this comic was amazing. I'm gonna read more about Alan Moore. And I read several of his things, and I'm like, I'm gonna look up Alan Moore. And until that point, I had no idea what he looked like or what he was into or like his general background.
Viking.
And like seeing an image where he's got like hair that just goes to infinity, and he's got these crazy rings on, and he looks like he's about to do like sometimes it's just funny, like idolizing somebody and then learning more about them. It's an interesting
never
experience.
meet your heroes.
Yeah. Ian Hank, always an anomaly. What have you been playing?
Okay, so No Man's Sky. Inverses is really cool. Tricky Towers, the free PSN game, maybe still.
It's free?
Kind of fun.
PS Plus? I didn't know it was on
PSN
PS
Plus.
Okay,
PSN Plus.
cool.
But the
Rebel
game.
Galaxy.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet. I don't know. I got it though. Whatever. The game I really want to talk about is Bound.
I thought this might be coming.
I was
so
thinking,
good.
I was like, what the hell did I play? And then I was like, oh right. Yeah, Bound. Bound, dude. This game is a feast. No, but I really liked it. The music is cool. The story is, pretty on the nose. Like, after the first little interstitial, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to really say anything about it, but like, you basically know kind of the broad strokes of what's going on, but the way that you move around in this game is so beautiful, and they had an actual dancer doing dances and stuff, so it's performance, contemporary dance kind of movements, and the structure of the game is really interesting because you can do, there are, I don't know, 5 or 6, I don't remember how many levels, but 5 or 6 levels, and you can do them in any order, but the order you do them in changes every other level after that. So once you learn what's the symbolism of this thing, what that is in the story, it's like it's visible as itself in the rest of the levels.
Whoa.
And like I made a change. I played the levels in a certain order, and I did one of the first levels chronologically in the notebook that you're looking through. I did it second to last because I figured like, oh, that seems to be the story that I'm kind of forging in my own mind. And then I noticed that, and then thinking back, the levels that I'd played, the 3 or 4 levels I'd played before that would have been a lot easier if I had done that level first, because it would have changed, it would have like removed a hazard from all those other levels.
Yeah.
So thinking like that is pretty cool. And since you can do them in any order, the people are like, there are over 120 different combinations of like ways to play this game and like different things. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And the thing I really like is there are a lot of secrets. There are definitely things I missed in the game. I only got, like, to get the trophy for each level, you have to like find the secret room on that level, basically.
Yeah.
I only got like 2 or 3 of them.
Magic to Kyle's ears.
Yeah.
Right now.
I love
secret
secrets.
You might
rooms.
like this
Secret
game.
rooms are great.
And like I played it literally in one sitting. Like I didn't even get up to go to the bathroom. I finished it, in like
Nice.
2 hours, whatever. And it was good. Like I got like emotional. Like I didn't cry or anything when I played Journey, but I was like got a little choked up here and there. At the end of one of the levels, I was just like, I was like,
Cool.
It's really what I love about this game. My favorite thing about this game, besides the super cool art direction and the bold choices that they made, is that the messaging of this game is so positive because it's saying you can use positive creativity as like a force for change and to protect yourself. Like in this game, she's using dance to protect herself from these very real world issues and dangers, and also it's about healing, like thinking backward and healing the past for yourself and confronting things for a better future and things like that. And I just love that message that art and creativity and passion and love can be these positive forces for change. I think that's a really great and sadly lacking message in video games, especially. So I think I loved this game. I thought it was marvelous. Yeah, and it looks dope.
You want to know one of my favorite things about this show is I really love the "What have you been playing" segment, because I feel like whoever the panel is, they bring such you guys all have such eclectic taste, but you're all so good about speaking to what you're passionate about that I feel like I make a mental list of like, I want to check this out. I want to check this out. Maybe wrestling's all right, you know? And
Modern dance,
yeah,
who knew?
Yeah, I think that was awesome. I'm so glad that I had no idea that was what Bound was about. But
Yeah.
now I'm I have it downloaded on my thing, but now I'm even more excited to play.
And again, I mean, I was so inspired. We did a Bound episode of Easy Update that I'm pretty proud of. So check it out if you haven't. It's pretty hilarious to watch these guys dance.
I don't even
And
know if it could be called dance.
Stay for the. Oh yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Actually, it came together pretty well.
Oh, nice.
And stay after the credits because there's a funny.
Marvel over here.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, the episode's 8 minutes long.
Okay.
Not a huge ask.
After an hour and a half the week prior.
Yeah. Trollathon. Anyway, yeah, Bound. I really loved it.
Awesome. That was excellent, Ian.
Ian, I think you sold me on Bound.
I think you'd like it.
Secrets.
I was
Also-
having such a good time at E3 playing that game.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And there are ways, like, I could see people getting like, ugh, she walks so slowly when she's, like, crawling on a wall. Like, you can jump past it. Like, there are ways to go fast. Actually, the funny thing about the game is after you beat it, it unlocks a speedrun menu, which is, like, cool, but just not what you expect from Bound. Like, when it said speedrun menu now unlocked, and I looked at all the options, and I was like, weird. Like, they really want people, and there are leaderboards for speedrunning Bound.
Based on everything you said,
I
prior to
know.
this,
I know. It's like, what?
Whoa.
But why not? You know,
Yeah.
replay value is a thing. So
I played this educational game about fonts called Typewriter. And
I love fonts.
That game has a speedrun mode too.
Huh.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
The most of the game is about learning about how fonts were made, and then at the end, as you
But
play through a level,
this
you get
game
speedrun
though,
mode.
Bound, there's definitely some precision platforming in this game, and I've done it like twice. There's like a super jump, like really long jump that I think you have to dance first to like charge up and then do it. I like tried for a little while to figure out how to do it, and I'm not sure how to do it.
Cool.
Speedrun strats.
So it's
Speedrun
definite
strat.
speedrun strat because
Yeah.
like there were jumps that I could not make.
Cool. And that's where
And-
the secret rooms were behind those
And
jumps.
maybe like there was a trail of things going off, and I'm like, I can see that there's an item I could pick up on that thing.
Yeah.
Because you pick up these little fragments that you realize throughout the game what they actually are, but like, and the jump was too far.
We got to get that trophy.
Yeah.
Kyle Bosman.
Like I'm
confirmed
thinking
platinum
about
trophy
playing it
inbound.
again and
Yeah.
trying to like figure it out.
Get that plat.
It's cool.
Kyle Bosman has earned the platinum trophy inbound.
I've got 3 things to talk about, but they're all pretty short. So
Is one of them wrestling?
No, I wish it was.
It can't all be wrestling. I'm sorry.
Wait, when can I get more Finn Balor?
Next time, because it'll be post SummerSlam.
All right, let me know. Like,
Yeah.
just send me to like Finn Balor now, and I'll know what
character.
it means. I'll subscribe to whatever service I have to.
The Finn Balor intro that you showed us, it really feels like some muscle guy accidentally went to the basement when his little brother or sister was playing D&D, got super into it, and then accidentally walked into wrestling after
I
that.
don't think that's fair to muscle guys.
No, I'm saying
He's, like,
muscle guys
lean.
can be into it too.
He's lean.
Yeah.
But like, I had muscle guy friends who were into D&D, but
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying like this guy
Vin Diesel.
doesn't seem like a D&D guy. So it seems like an accident, and then it also seems like a double accident that he then wandered into wrestling and told this D&D backstory for himself.
Yeah.
The thing I'm most excited to talk about is I've been playing the Titanfall 2 technical test.
Test.
That's about
I like saying that.
out there.
Test.
Yeah.
Tech test.
Test. Yeah. And we Michael Huber and myself did a preview on it. So if you want more formalized thoughts, I guess, about Titanfall 2, check that out. But playing it more and not playing against game journalists, and I'm not saying this to be a jerk, but I feel like whenever you play a multiplayer game with a group of journalists, it is a very inaccurate representation of what
That's
that
a
game is
slight-
going to feel.
It's a slight.
It's a slight
number
And-
4.
well-
Well, it's because people are using loadouts they wouldn't use for capture purposes.
Yeah,
and
it just feels like
looking at textures on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, it's a
Like-
totally different environment.
Yeah.
It's just like they just play so much differently than a live audience is going to play, and so I think I've actually I enjoyed it when we went to go see it, but I enjoyed it even more with real people. And what is so excellent?
You're wearing a Titanfall
wearing a
shirt.
Titanfall 2 t-shirt.
Gee,
Going,
cool design.
going full sellout here.
Yeah. How much did they pay you, man?
Not enough.
Not enough.
The thing about Titanfall 2 is I can't get over the movement. And you could say, well, a ton of shooters are doing, all sorts of boosts and jumps and double jumps and jetpacks and all that stuff. I think Titanfall 2 has the best movement. And I think the grappling hook changes all of that. Like being able to look at a giant building, shoot out a grappling hook, and just zip to it with like no fuss, no nothing, just getting there. Like the maps become so fascinating. Like when you get good at the movement, you feel like you're playing Spider-Man 2. Like you are just zipping from place to place. And because of that, because you have that mobility, you're like, well, I can't just be static. Like I can't just go to a place and shoot, because the people that are good are flying through the skies and shooting at the same time. And so it becomes this like you feel like you're playing a shooter kind of for the first time again, where you have to get good at something that you're not familiar with that feels so much different than all these other shooters. And it's exciting when you have that moment where you're 100 feet in the air, where you launch out of that Titan and you're gunning somebody down. I mean, you could do that in the first Titanfall as well, but it's so good. And the way that they've done the controls is you never feel like you're learning something obtuse. It's like you're only pushing against your limit as a player. Like they are giving you every single tool that you need to do incredible, super heroic things. And it's just a blast. Like I can't remember the last time, other than maybe when I first played Overwatch, where I went in a shooter and just was immediately having fun. Like there was no need to warm up. It was just like, no, this feels distinct. It's awesome. I'm having a blast.
And I love team-based modes.
Yeah.
With the NPCs. Standard deathmatch like freaks me out nowadays.
Totally.
Because I can't commit enough time to be great. Like even if I go 1-1 KD, I'm just like, I'm not very good. It's like depressing, I feel old. I feel past my prime. Like gone are the Counter-Strike days where I'm like no scoping, op headshots, like so.
I think it's just a mental barrier here.
It is, I know, but like
your hands just aren't fast anymore.
yeah, but modes where you team up and you really have to work as a group, like do you remember what the mode is called with the
Bounty Hunt.
Bounty Hunt.
That's
okay.
actually what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, like Bounty Hunt is so cool because you're working with your team to take on like the computer characters, but then so is the enemy team. Like both
cool.
teams are trying to take out the computer for cash.
That's interesting.
But my number one thing about Bounty Hunt is how high the individual stakes are.
Yeah.
And
you lose your cash.
well, no, you don't lose all your cash. So what you need to do for those that haven't played or aren't familiar, in Bounty Hunt, periodically throughout the game, there will be these drop points that come down, and soldiers will. There'll be these like soldier pods that come down, and they'll get out, and there are different levels of AI units that you can kill, and the more difficult the unit you kill, the more money you get, and you accrue money as you kill these things, and then once you delete these 2 points, like once you've killed everybody that has spawned, these banks open, and you have to go to the bank and deposit the money. And so this is great because these capture points are so chaotic because you have all of these AI guys that you have to deal with and the enemy team, and so
Titans
you
are
have
coming
to
down.
find
They
an
can kill you
interesting.
too?
Yeah,
So
they can.
that's the biggest thing is when you die, you lose half your cash.
You lose half your cash.
Half.
And it can be insanely
Devastating.
brutal.
Yeah.
But it can also feel incredible. But it's just this dynamic that you have to deal with because you are trying to find a balance between protecting yourself and killing the enemy team and fending them off and fighting the AI, and just kind of balancing all of that is really fun and exciting. But managing your money, knowing when you've accumulated enough that it's worth going to the bank, because the bank is only open for a limited time, which also plays into it. You can't just hang out and pick the safest time. Like you're on a clock, which is good. And if, let's say you have $500, which is a lot, that can really give your team a significant boost, they kill you, suddenly you're down to $250. Suddenly it's not that big of a deal. And so it's devastating, but when you kill somebody and you get that $500, it's so rewarding. And so unlike a team deathmatch, I think where you just sort of die and you hit square and you're back in the fight, you know, your death has so much weight here. And I love that about this mode.
Do I share the bank with the enemy? Is it the same bank?
It's the
Two
same,
the
so
same
there are
bank?
two different banks, and they're on
different
opposite ends of the map.
Okay.
And you both share this. You both have access to the same banks.
But I'd be scared to go to the bank if my enemy is also going to the same bank.
Right. And so if you notice a trend, like you see a bunch of your teammates dying at that bank, you're like, oh, that means the other bank is not defended, and so you go there, and so it's this sort of back and forth where you're trying to figure out who's going to what bank.
Camp on the banks.
Yeah.
Dude.
Because if you
And-
have a ton of cash
That
too, you
sounds
might just
fun.
retreat.
Yeah, it
You
is.
might not even go to the battle. It's like, dude, I have $800. The bank's not open, but I really don't want to lose this.
Just
Right.
hang by the
And
bank.
you just hang out.
And
It's
then,
crazy.
on top of all of this,
Titans.
I love how the Titans play into it too, because it's not just, okay, I summon my Titan and I kill a bunch of dudes. I mean, yes, you can play that way, but when you summon your Titan is super, super important, because what I love about Titanfall is I don't think you get in a Titan and you feel invulnerable. Like, the enemy can do so many things against you, and I don't think the Titans have all that much health, that if you deploy your Titan poorly, you really get punished for it and it'll be gone immediately. And so it's like, okay, do I want to deploy my Titan and kill all these AI and get a bunch of money and then go to the bank? But you have to get out of your Titan to go to the
Yeah.
bank,
Oh.
which is another interesting thing. You can't just run up and deposit. So that's another interesting thing. Or do I want to deploy my Titan and defend the bank while my teammates come in? And so
Oh,
I
cool.
feel like it is a mode that just makes so much sense for the game that they're making.
That's a cool point.
Yeah, and it's a blast.
I got one more
really
question
enjoyed
about Titanfall too.
Yeah.
Could you see how it's monetized? Is there
It's gonna
can I buy like boxes?
Oh,
Like,
it's gonna be map
loot
packs for
boxes?
sure. I assume.
Is there loadout stuff I can buy?
it. Well, maybe the way that they do it is it's very much like a Call of Duty style, where as you level up and as you use certain weapons, you get different things for that weapon. So, like, I've been using this assault rifle. I unlocked assault for this thing for this assault rifle.
Yeah.
But as you get different perks for different guns and different like things for your character, you have to spend a currency to unlock that thing. So maybe you've unlocked it, but to use it, you have to buy it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
maybe
don't think they would micro that.
That would be
Maybe-
real
Insane.
nasty.
If you could buy
Maybe-
those points,
if you could buy
no
money
way.
to actually use that stuff,
No
you
way.
could do it. But I don't know.
Hopefully, it's just cosmetics if they do it.
This is all just pure
Speculation.
So
There's no-
nothing right now in the system that's
Correct.
live this weekend has any.
Correct.
Correct. One thing I wanted to bring up was the help me out here. What's it called? The lobby, the clan thing.
Yeah, we did not bring that up during the video.
This thing
good.
is really. It's maybe I'm hyping it up too much, but it seems like the new way to play with friends. You remember what it's called?
I don't remember what their specific name is.
The
Okay.
new
But-
way to play with friends.
That sounds so PR. Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I
somebody
wouldn't go that far.
Somebody
but-
tweeted me though that they already set up Easy Allies page,
Oh, fun.
but you just join. It's so easy and seamless. You just join the group, the Easy Allies group, and then you click.
It's
go
like
to-
one button.
One button, like
Yeah.
go to match.
It's very
Anyone in the Easy Allies group, an invite pops up, and they click one button to join you. So it sounds really simple and basic and not a big deal, but I think it's really awesome how
Yeah.
easy and seamless and fast and quick it is
Okay.
to group up with people, especially patrons who you might not be on your friends list,
Yeah.
but are in the Easy Allies group.
Yeah.
Just
If
everyone
you're-
can join in together.
If you're in a game, would the thing?
I think if you're in a game, no.
Oh, okay.
So-
Just when you're in the lobby. And it's like the first 10 people or whatever, or 5 or however many that accept are partied up together.
Partied up.
Yeah.
A lot of what it accomplishes you can do
New
by
way to
like
play.
going back out to the system and like making a party on like on Xbox Live or PSN and then doing all that stuff. But this just eliminates like
Yeah,
so many
so
steps.
many steps.
It's just like, okay, these are the people. When I get online, I push a button, we're all together.
Yeah.
Like you can get into Titanfall 2 and be playing with your friends within seconds. Like
Yeah.
it's so fast.
Like I'm hyping it up maybe too much, but I feel like it could change the way you play with people in the future.
Hopefully.
Like I hope people look at it and buy into it and are happy about it.
Sure.
Like
The second thing I want to talk about is a little game called Brutal. It's a
yeah.
PSN downloadable game.
Brutat-al.
Yeah, so it's brutal, but the A is an at symbol, and it's really neat. So what it is it's sort of a twist. It's inspired by the old ASCII roguelike games, and it's incredibly charming. And it gets me every time when you pull up the map. The map it like goes down to a top-down perspective, and it becomes like an ASCII
Oh, funny.
thing. And what it is it's sort of like a Diablo action role-playing game where you're beating up enemies and you're getting loot and you're upgrading that loot and you're going through these randomly generized things. But I think the level of difficulty is tuned just right where in this type of game you want it to be at, where it's difficult enough and the game pushes back enough and you fear death so much that when you get that new upgrade, you're like, yes, I need this so bad. And so I haven't reached the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's a little bit whatever. I guess I'll just equip it. And so that's exciting, and I think it's a very hard thing to accomplish. And just the style of it. Like, it in a game where you're using, like, at symbols and all of this ASCII language, I could imagine it would be very visually incomprehensible and, like, a hectic fight. But the way they do it, it's actually very clean and looks super cool. And like I was playing as this warrior, and an at symbol was my shield, and I threw it at a guy, and I'm like, okay, this is charming. I haven't played it that long. I've only played a couple of hours of it, and so I feel like my impressions are not as deep as I would like. But for $15, I'm having a very good time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's roguelike. You die and then it starts over. Or?
Yeah. So but
Love roguelikes.
I'm not sure if you keep your upgrades or not. I think you do, but I could be wrong.
I like
that.
roguelikes where you retain
something.
something.
Then those aren't true roguelikes.
Yeah, roguelike likes.
Yeah.
What's Rogue Legacy?
Roguelike like.
Rogue
Yeah.
Legacy.
Ro-
Where
I-
is the sequel?
where
to
is
that
the
game?
sequel to that
Please.
Have they said
Feed
that? Or?
me
No.
Rogue Legacy.
Not that I know of.
Oh.
The last thing I want to talk about, I'm going to throw a curveball.
Okay.
Frame Trap.
Here we go.
I want to talk about a music artist that I've been really into recently.
Guns N' Roses? Did you go to the
no.
concert?
Oh, it's so rude.
Dude, slight counter up to 4.
Slight.
right now.
No,
that
that's
was
fine.
slight.
That was
That's
fine.
fine. Yeah, that's
fine.
Nope, not Guns N' Roses. Axl Rose will have to wait another day. There's someone I want to talk about today is Courtney Barnett. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with her or not.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Absolutely. She's
But-
Australian.
Yeah, she's Australian, and she's truly wonderful because I think if you like listen to one song, you might be like, oh, that kind of sounds like Nirvana. Move on with your life. But if you spend some time with her music, she actually goes into a bunch of different styles. And what I love about her is I think she's an incredible lyricist. She feels intelligent without coming off as intellectual or like super removed, and she'll just sing a song about like eating too much instant ramen, but she'll warp it in such a way, she'll construct the words in such a way where you'll be like, whoa, this is speaking to a lot. And it just there's an honesty to that music that I think is really interesting. It's not like somebody is trying to say something. It's like they sit down and had an experience and this is what came out. And when you listen to it, I think that honesty like kind of connects you to her and makes her really interesting. And it's so good.
Depreston.
Depressed.
That track makes me cry, man.
It
and
does.
It's exactly what you're just describing. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
gotta
It's
check her
so
out.
Yeah.
good. I get emotional when I listen to that music.
Yeah.
But I think what's good about her too is, I think when I was talking about that honesty, she covers like the whole spectrum of emotions. Like there are tracks that I listen to and I laugh out loud, where she talks about a relationship with somebody that's swimming next to her in a lane in a pool, and how like she can't get a clear grasp on the situation because she's wearing like swimming goggles. And it's her first album name is Sometimes I Sit and Think, and Sometimes I Just Sit. And it's beautiful. Like, it's so simple and like kind of facetious, but totally true. And I've fallen in love, and it's hard to talk about music when you don't do it a lot, so I feel like I'm being very vague, but really love her. Check her out. She's definitely changed my life for the better. So
Have you listened to Mitski?
yes, somebody recommended that to me, and I was like, oh, I'll check that out. And then I realized that I actually had checked it out. Like, what is it? Her Puberty 2 is
the
yes.
most recent album.
Yes,
yeah.
I listened to that.
I like Bury Me at Makeout Creek or whatever. That's a good album.
Less
Funny, more intense.
Sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you guys with music as well, but sometimes I'll do like a first listen of somebody. I'll be like, man, I'm super into this. I'm going to come back to it. And then I don't come back to it for several weeks or a month later. So I've done like that cursory listen, and I'm really into it, but I just need to.
Did you ever get into Deerhoof?
No.
I think you'd love Deerhoof.
Deerhoof? Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Deerhoof is bananas.
I've been getting into Stereolab as well.
Ah.
Really good stuff. Never listened to them before.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I love the music corner. I'm gonna have a music tip next time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I love this. Yeah, if I had to like rank the things that I love in this world, it would be video games are number one. I'm just talking about hobbies. I'm not, so don't say like family and stuff.
Where's
That's not even in
Chie
the
rank?
No, she's not in the rank. So it's video games and then music. So if you guys want to come in and talk about music, I would absolutely love it.
Where would Chie rank on your favorite video game characters of all time?
Probably not even in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Betrayal.
Dang.
Like, we get the question a lot, like, what video games make you cry? And, you know, it's like maybe 3.
Right.
Like, music makes me cry like 80% of the time. I don't know, you know, much more frequently. Do you know what I mean? Music moves
Absolutely.
me more than video games ever move me.
Film,
yeah.
But for some reason I do. I'm much more crazy about video
I
games.
think I cried in Suikoden 2 or 1. That might be the only game I've ever actually cried. Got close and Bound.
Whoa.
You know
We gotta
what,
play Bound.
Kyle?
Huh.
You made me think of something that I really want to talk about just very briefly.
Sure.
Is I've thought about that a lot because I've been watching. Television is incredible right now. I mean, Michael Huber, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I've just over the last 2 years, there are several television shows that I've watched where I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, almost perfect shows that have made me think and have been so profound and just so well crafted that they're a joy to behold. Like multiple series.
Yeah.
Like we are in like a TV renaissance. I truly feel like that. And like Kyle was saying, I've been listening to a lot of music that has had a powerful effect on me, and that just doesn't happen as much with video games. Not that I think it necessarily has to, but what's fascinating to video games about me is sometimes I feel like that is maybe why I'm the most obsessed with games, is when I do have that game that connects with me and moves me on an emotional level. I think because of the way video games work, their interactivity, how much you have to invest into them to see the conclusion, that experience sticks with me forever. Like Metal Gear Solid 1 will stick with me forever.
I hear ya.
You know, Dark Souls will stick with me forever because I spent months of my life committing myself to them, and I think you get to be a part of them more than you do other things. So, do you guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. I think the experience makes it, like, if I think about Shadow of the Colossus, I still feel guilty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, you can just watch another movie again. You know, like, you have favorite movies, and you're like, oh, yeah, every couple of years I watch that one, you know? But it's not your fault when you watch a movie, you know, generally. Unless it's a Michael Haneke film. Sometimes it's your fault then.
What a reference.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get, like, too emotional there.
Frame trap, baby.
Frame trap, baby. It goes in weird places. Sometimes I'm in control of it. Most of the time I'm not. All right. It
Like
is
my
time
bladder.
for this very, very, very special and hopefully heated HOTTAKE. It's that time. But we're talking about Gamescom. Gamescom is happening this week. And there are a few announcements or things that I want to focus on. Kyle, I think you covered some of this in the Easy A podcast, and so we're going to be treading somewhat similar ground, but hopefully it'll go off in a different direction. The number one thing I want to talk about that came out after you guys recorded the Easy A podcast is Metal Gear Survive. So this is the first time that we've seen Metal Gear resurface in a non-pachinko format after Kojima's departure. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Metal Gear Survive, according to Konami, is a new addition to the Metal Gear 5 experience. It is a 4-player stealth co-op game set within the Metal Gear universe for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Before we dig into any more details, based on that very short description, and I don't know if you guys saw the trailer, gut reaction.
So I don't write off any game. Okay? That's how I live my life. I don't judge it. I don't write it off without having tried it myself. I give everything an open mind.
Yeah.
Because of the Konami situation, because of the way they have treated their fans, because of the way they treated Kojima, everything that has gone down, I want to write this game off immediately. I want to say,
Absolutely.
F you. I want to say, you're not taking my money. I want to say, I'm not going to talk about that game, not going to play it, and nothing. But still, the idea of teaming up in the Metal Gear universe with Bosman, with Ben, with Ian, like, there's still something kind of there that I would be into for, like, a day. But I don't know. Help me, guys. Help me out.
Here's the thing.
Make it okay for me to just throw holy water on this.
I think it would be okay if we hired someone to break into a Best Buy and steal 4 copies of this game and then bring them to us. Then it might be okay.
More so than any other series, though. Well, maybe not more so than any other series, but definitely Metal Gear Solid has always had, like, a vision. It has been compelled to say something. Metal Gear Solid 2, the effect that technology has over us, right? Metal Gear Solid 4, how times change and how people's roles within those changing times change, right? And, you know, say what you will about the convoluted nature of Metal Gear Solid, like, something that is always inspiring about that series to me is that it is trying. It is trying to speak to something that we can all relate to on some level. And then you say, hey, here, and the end kicker is what really gets it to me. Hey, have fun with your buddies in the Metal Gear Solid universe. It feels like a game that is being directed by a corporate decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, oh, what are the kids into? Let's give it that.
100%.
And
Level up, loot. There's gonna be so many friggin' loot crates in this game.
You're gonna pay
it
to make
lacks that
bars
sense
go
of
faster.
purpose, you know, that I think not every, but a lot of Metal Gear Solid games have.
And it's pretty sickening that it even shows ground zeros in the beginning of that trailer. You see Big Boss fly away, and this is going on, like, at that time. They get sucked into some other dimension. It's, like, everyone has read so deep into all that, like, you know, the Phantom Pain metaphor against Konami from Kojima. This almost feels like, yo, F you, Kojima. Like, this feels like a personal attack.
The thing that I think about when I look at a game like this, or movies that you've heard bad things about, or anything like that, because, like, we've heard all the horror stories about how terrible it is to work for Konami, and, like, how they will shut off lights on you and, like, force you to work crazy hours, and all these weird horror stories. And I was just watching this trailer, and I'm like, I wonder if any single human being involved in this game is happy at all. And I think the answer is no.
The person who made the bow. The bow looks cool.
Good work. You're probably happy.
The bow and arrow looks cool.
I want to say about this game, one detail I think is super important is that it's a $30 game. And I think that honestly sets expectations correctly.
It's like an Umbrella Corps.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy for me to call this non-canon, and for that reason, I'm kind of cool with it.
The reason it is canon, though, is because the guy looks at Big Boss fly away, man. It's the same universe. It's not filler.
Which is a hilarious metaphor, because it's like all the actual Metal Gear things are literally flying away from this game. You know? Let's talk about that with Omar.
I don't think we've said the word zombies yet. You're fighting against zombies.
That was the next...
But how are they different? But, like, people are all pissed about zombies, and I'm like, well, yeah, but Metal Gear's always had, like, supernaturally kind of enemies in it.
It's
like
never been a horde mode.
It's never
game.
been
True,
this.
yeah, horde mode, yeah.
Like, another dimension, getting sucked into a black hole,
galaxy.
like, I've never... There's nothing like that in Metal Gear. Sure,
Huber, that really bugs me, actually. A lot of what I saw reported on the first day is it's like, well, at least they're keeping true to the nature of the kooky Metal Gear Solid stories.
Yes.
Is the way it was reported on a lot.
That is crazy.
So
That made
basically,
me
it's
so
like as
mad.
long as there's batshit stuff that you can't really make sense of right away.
Sounds like
it
Kojima
fits,
to me. It's
Sounds
like,
like
no.
Kojima to me.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, no.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Why, Kyle? I think you bring up a good point with it being $30 and being able to get it in your head like this is non-canon. But to me, this is like the beginning of something. This is Konami saying, "All right, now how do we leverage Metal Gear as a property?" Right, where like setting things in the Metal Gear universe that maybe shouldn't be there, or like there's allusions to fighting a Metal Gear as like a boss, as like a thing that you just take down with your buddies, and I just think, in a way, doesn't that devalue it a little?
Oh, well, when Raiden was cutting through Metal Gears in Revengeance, it was devaluing Big Boss or Old Snake crawling through the laser fields. I mean...
Oh, no. I actually don't agree with that. Because I think Metal Gear Rising took a specific tone and rode that all the way home that it felt like a distorted version of Metal Gear in a really cool way. It was like another take on Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Where
But it's like, what was his sacrifice for it? What was Snake's sacrifice for it?
Exactly.
Sure, I understand that, but like I think the word distortion there is very, very important, where it was like, this feels like it is taking place in a vacuum, or this is taking place, in a different... It felt like an artist was like, okay, how can I play with these things and make them distinct? Like there was a separation there. Yeah. I think if you put them together, you're totally right. What does Snake Sacrifice means? But I think if you remove them, you can appreciate both separately and equally.
I learned to love... I love Rising.
Yeah.
Headcanon-wise, Huber, like, Snake saved the world in that microwave.
Exactly.
Like, he allowed Raiden to cut those things apart. Like, he allowed the world to
Pass the
continue
torch,
existing.
for sure.
You got to assume the world isn't going to be safe forever without
true.
war for the rest of the time.
War.
I think with Metal Gear Survive though, that like there was a stylistic flair to Revengeance that allowed me to make that separation that I don't think is here. Like it is like more Metal Gear Solid 5 in a way that I'm not sure I'm comfortable with.
I would bet my life that this game is going to be drowning in microtransactions.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Drowning.
How many bars are there going to be that you
my
can pay to speed up?
God.
The weird thing to me about all of this is that Konami's trying to put out a video game at all and act like it's okay for them to do that. Because, like, they basically, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed to me like they basically all but said in straight words, we don't care about making video games anymore.
Well, the pachinko business wasn't going as well as expected. That report came out a couple months back.
Yeah.
Where then they were like, oh, well, maybe we should shift back to video games.
oh, we should
Because Metal Gear Solid 5 made a
Kojima guy.
ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have screwed over Kojima.
Yeah.
And then now
It makes no sense.
And it's so business because they're just using the Phantom Pain engine.
Yeah.
They have everything.
But like, where will humanity draw the line? Is my question. Is like, because we shouldn't be still going to the DC movies. We shouldn't be
Hey, it's only been
paying
3 movies, all right?
That's a lot.
3 strikes and you're out, Hubie baby.
Iron Man 2.
Very
Iron
bad.
Man 2, terrible. Should we stop going to Marvel movies?
No, because they make other ones that are good.
Okay, well, the next one might
DC
be
has
good.
no track record.
There's been 3 movies only.
and they're
Three's
all the
Three
worst
is a lot.
movies
Three
ever made.
establishes a pattern.
3, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2 were movies 2 and 3.
Right,
Those are
but
not good
surrounded by
movies.
other
the other
movies
side
that
of that
were
story for me
good.
personally is,
Or, like,
I
tolerable.
am also growing tired of Marvel films.
Yeah.
By and large.
I basically the only Marvel movies I've really liked have been Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool, kind of.
I will agree with you if Justice League also is a train.
Justice League is
you know
going
it's
to
going to
be
be
Did you watch
trash.
that trailer?
If Justice League is horrible, I will
Trash.
say okay. All right.
already
Worse
know,
than
dude.
horrible.
You already know it's horrible.
But what I'm saying is, like, when will we be like, no, Konami, we're not going to give you money for
Right
this.
now, I'm not paying for that game. Mark
Yeah.
my words, 100%.
Oh, neither would I. But
No
like,
matter
I
what.
just think that
You
like
heard it here. Keep him to his word.
humanity
No,
needs
no.
to make the choice
Yeah.
to stop allowing evil, bad things to exist.
Yeah.
You know what I think is super funny is when they talked about the pachinko not doing well, they blame millennials. People our age don't want to play pachinko machines, just like we don't want to watch the Olympics. the video games is to support the pachinko business, to make you care about the Metal Gear Solid brand, which they can then attach to pachinko machines.
Sickening.
It's so
How
funny.
funny! I love that.
It's such a backwards. They don't
Yeah.
realize that millennials, like, I read an article that I sort of thought was interesting because it's like millennials, like, everyone loves to ascribe all these crazy things to millennials, but like the theory that I like the best is like millennials just don't have any fucking money.
Yeah.
Sure.
We just can't afford to play pachinko because
Yeah.
it's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, why am I going to throw money at this thing for no reason?
Rather play
And, like,
blackjack.
Everyone's like, oh, do you have a retirement plan? No. Like, I don't have a solid job. Like, jobs don't exist.
I think there's more to millennials than that.
No, but I mean, like, it's definitely a concern. Like, the promise of America back in the day when it's like you go to college and then are just handed a job doesn't happen anymore. People are drowning in debt.
Yeah, but we're also
We're not going to play pachinko.
we're more understanding and welcoming to millennials. you know?
Yeah, because the world is moving that way, hopefully.
Yeah.
Unless Trump destroys it. But, like, you know, things trend for the better on the whole, typically,
Yeah.
until we realize that the environment is going to kill us all.
But like, it's crazy to me that millennials don't care about the Olympics. Something happened.
Love the
Somebody
Olympics.
said sports aren't cool, and that's happening. That's a trend.
Nobody said it, it just happened.
Baseball,
Yeah,
man, always hanging on for dear life.
Right.
I would love to watch the Olympics, but I don't have television. And
That's
I
another
think
weird
the big
one.
thing is
That's
because
the
no one's
biggest
paying for
thing.
television because there's no reason to pay for television.
I pay so much for television.
You're crazy.
that's the
person.
thing.
But I
is
split it with my girlfriend, which is cool.
I
Still.
would love television, but television is hilariously expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
Well,
also,
it's
you could buy an
internet.
antenna.
You buy the internet package with
Yeah.
Worry
it.
about
but also
Yeah.
like TV is something. It's brutally overpriced, and you're being served ads. Whereas you can pay an eighth of the cable cost and just have Netflix or Hulu and pay for the non-ad version for like a fraction of the cost.
Basically, the Dodgers have a gun to my head, and I've
Sure,
gotta
sure.
pay.
That's
it's
just
the
the-
only way to get
that
it.
when sports
the
die, then
only
TV
possible
will
way.
die.
Yeah.
You know,
But also, I think we're a generation that realizes video games are good.
Right.
can
Sure,
be
yeah.
good. Yeah.
And that's the other thing is maybe there was a time where you had to have TV because you needed to be entertained by something sometimes, and that was, you know, you were limited in options. But when when you have so many options and so many distractions, why pay 50, 100, however much it is for your cable subscription when you could just go do something that lasts just as long, if not longer, and pay far less?
It makes me think about airlines because the airline industry is so messed up. Because when I was a little kid, I was like, why don't they just slap ads on every single one of these surfaces like they do on buses and make airplane tickets way cheaper? Because like we're being served ads, right? Like you get the right for me to look at your bullshit, so I pay less money. Like that's how this works. That's what ads are. But then now there are ads on every surface and tickets cost more. And I'm just like, well, no, wait, like this isn't right. Like
DVR though, man.
I'm
Fast
not
forward those
paying you.
commercials.
No, right, but it's like I don't know, like you can't have it both ways. Like on YouTube is a perfect example. You can watch YouTube for free and see ads, or you can pay and not see ads. That's how I think everything should work, because you either pay for the right not to have your time wasted, or they get to waste your time and try to sell you things. Like that's the human experience.
So I get TV shows out there.
I think.
The Nick, Mr. Robot.
But I mean, Stranger Things on Netflix.
Of course.
Great show.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Moving on. I think it's time to get to the next.
Yeah, screw
thing I
you,
wanna talk
Konami.
about.
We don't want to talk
Yeah,
about you
Konami.
anymore.
Dead.
I want to talk about Resident Evil 7. So during the
Oh, boy.
Gamescom stuff, Resident Evil 7 had a new trailer come out, gameplay trailer called Lantern, and interesting. It showed. I think it gave us maybe a little bit better of an idea of what to expect from the game, and it's about somebody exploring this place, and they're trying to avoid this terrifying woman with a lantern. And there are a couple of cool things in there. You definitely see a puzzle that looks very reminiscent of a Resident Evil puzzle. But outside of that very brief and sloppy description, as our resident Resident Evil fan, what did you think of it, Michael Huber?
Loved it. Gave me like Nemesis vibes
Yeah.
of just this ultimate power hunting you down. You're unarmed. Seen a lot of complaints on the internet, just doing the thing I hate, comparing it to other things, saying, oh, it's not going to be as good as this, not going to be as good as that. Why isn't it like this?
Wait a minute. Why does that bother you? People are going to naturally compare it to other things.
Just because we haven't seen enough to be like, oh, it's just Outlast. This game is not Outlast.
Definitely. I totally agree with you, and
It's a frustrating comment to read.
Absolutely. You know, I really think that your sensibility here is a smart one, and I respect it, to have that patience to say, all right, well, let's take a step back and get a fuller picture. But at the same time, I do think it's hard for people to fight back that natural inclination of, oh, this seems very similar to this, or this seems worse than this. Like,
but that's everything.
Sure.
Abzu is Journey. Like,
right. But there's
every game is
there's
every
value in that.
levels.
There's value in that comparison. There's truth in that comparison. You know?
Yeah.
It's not totally
but they
unwarranted.
spin it in a negative way, I feel like. Like, comparison now has become a point of negativity, not positivity.
Sure. Absolutely.
Nothing is ever compared in a positive way, I feel like. I think that's dying.
I don't fully agree with that, but
It's hyperbolic, of
Comparing
course.
something to Journey is really good.
yeah,
We just did that.
But it's not as good. It's a low
okay.
rate
Right. You
Journey
compare and say, yeah,
was
it's
the
low rate
sentiment for Abzu.
I don't think people are only comparing
Of
in negative
course.
ways, but
Speaking in absolutes,
my
here, of
least
course.
favorite articles to read ever, like 100% my least favorite one, is when I go to a site, and it's usually a gaming site, where they're like, wow, we just played this new thing, it's X cross that,
Yeah.
and then they like stop talking.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
nope, that doesn't do it. Like, I'm sorry, you just
Yeah.
took the laziest way humanly possible. Like, it's totally fine to compare it or
course,
have
of
it remind you something. But you're totally right, where I do feel like people have thought that it's okay to be like, oh, this is this, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, this
Yeah.
is
I just feel like it's a growing trend.
Elder Scrolls with guns.
So, again, this game has so much mystery. We've only seen really 2 scenarios now. We've seen the demo and now this trailer. The demo was like a free-form exploration, no immediate threat. And now this was kind of like, it looked like an escape. You're trying to get away from this creature. And I can, of course, see the Outlast comparisons and the Amnesia comparisons, because that's what those games are. They are, you have no power. If creature catches you, you die. Which is basically what this was. And I think the thing that people need to see to differentiate Resident Evil 7 from those games is the combat, which is something we haven't seen. You know, it's already been confirmed. You get a shotgun, you get a pistol, you get guns. You're going to be killing things in these games, which is something you don't do in Outlast, which is something you don't do in Amnesia.
The thing I worry, just to jump on that real quick, the thing I worry about is that we're going to get into a Silent Hill Shattered Memories situation where, like, in that game, if it's not the Frozen Realm, you literally know that you're not going to be attacked by a monster because there aren't any. Whereas in this game, every VHS tape, since it's like found, my worry is that every VHS tape, like, there looks like they're going to be interstitials, right? Where it's like you see a VHS and then play through it as yourself, or vice versa. But will every tape end with the person dying? Because in that case, just let the woman catch you and save yourself 30 minutes. Like, because you know you're going to die, so just do
That's
it.
funny.
Yeah.
You know, like, unless you could change things and, like, because in the trailer, the puzzle seemed to be solved. Like, it was on. So
Here's-
maybe the better you do in the tape, the
Exactly.
easier things will be for
No,
yourself.
and
later.
that is exactly right, because in the beginning hour demo, when you watch the tape, you like see the clues and stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if when you're playing it, you know, you can do better, and that
my
helps
hope.
you. Yeah,
My hope is what it is that the tapes are
Like
actually
the
more of a puzzle.
lantern thing, or the
The chimney.
fireplace. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see that in the tape, so
Yeah.
you do it, of course.
I'm hoping that it's like you do the thing and set yourself up for later. Like, it could be a cool, like, temporal kind of, like, the past person who died is actually you kind of helping yourself later to do this, you know. Like, that door needs to be open.
And it's a big thing to realize, too, that these are just the tapes. We haven't seen the main protagonist. We haven't seen... Like, what if the main protagonist is a gun-packing, you know...
Chris Redfield.
Barry Burton,
Or
Chris
Barry-
Redfield,
yeah.
or, like...
Ada. I hope
Ada
you're
or
Ada.
something.
If you're Ada, that'd be dope.
There's just so much mystery. And, like, I get it. People are maybe impatient and they want to, like, see more of the game, or...
It comes out in January, man.
Comes out soon. Good. Let it cook. Keep me in the dark.
But I
keep
think
me in the dark.
I do think it's hard to make a blind purchase.
Yeah.
On it, like, I do not feel this way, but I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
There are a lot of people whose complaint is this doesn't feel like Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 4 didn't feel like Resident Evil. Like, we've
Sure.
been through these changes so many times.
Like I said, I'm not saying I agree. I
Yeah,
just
of
want to
course.
see your response to it.
This
It is
trailer
one
made
of
me
the
feel
very
like that.
it is one of the very few franchises that has stood the test of time with a continuing continuity over the decades. And for the people that say, "Oh, this isn't Resident Evil, I'm out," like, this could have easily been a reboot. The fact that it is Resident Evil 7 is telling me, yo, fans that have been with us from the beginning or whenever, that are committed to this lore, that are part of this franchise, this is a continuation. Like, that is there. And
Yeah,
it's,
the-
of course, it's drastically different, but the fact that it's 7 to me says, we've got you.
A part of me feels like it's a little bit of a best of both worlds because, this is going in a new experimental direction, which is always interesting. I think regardless of how it turns out, I kind of always respect those moves.
Yeah.
But the thing is if maybe that was all you had, I could maybe understand the fear a little bit more.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 2 remake is coming.
Exactly.
And I think that is going to, appeal to people that specifically want that style of game.
Heck yeah.
And so I think it's kind of a best of both worlds situation.
I agree.
The thing with this trailer is I had the opposite response to people saying that it doesn't feel like Resident Evil because I saw that bridge with like the babies and like the stuff and I was like, oh cool, other environments. This feels like a swamp area from 4 or like it feels like a Resident Evil to me. Like,
Yeah.
So I was like, oh cool, this game actually is a Resident Evil
And
game.
it's saving that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to set myself up, but I like Resident Evil 5, classic example. Like, you start digging into that umbrella stuff way later in the game.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 as well.
I do think though that I'm totally not surprised that there's been some resistance to the way Resident Evil 7 has presented stuff, only because I feel like the horror genre now, in particular, especially with Steam Early Access, has spit out a lot of games that feel practically identical or extremely shallow.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I think in response to a lot of underwhelming horror games that are kind of lacking ideas, people are maybe more aggressively wanting
Totally.
to be wowed.
It is pretty crazy, first person.
One thing I want to say about this game is I don't think it looks good visually, competitive wise, up to other standards set by other games. Just what?
Tell me about the lighting, Kyle Bosman. It's got good lighting.
Here's the thing,
man.
Hubert.
That lantern flickering everywhere.
Every other Resident Evil game is best in class. Just this is the best looking game that's out right now. When you think of how Resident Evil 4 revolutionized what games looked like and where you put the camera.
And Resident Evil Remake.
Even Resident Evil
I don't know.
6 is an
Yeah.
excellent looking game.
5 looked
for
like
its period.
garbage when it came out.
I thought
No,
5 looked
dude,
the
no.
best character models.
No
dude.
way. That's right.
I mean, I guess
No way.
I only played it split screen, and I was like, this looks like shit.
But so to see this game look kind of grody with its textures on that door that
It's
had
got to
like,
run at a high frame rate. It's VR, man.
yeah, maybe it's the VR influence,
Yeah.
but I'm a little surprised how low budget it appears. And I mean, maybe that's just what the current state
I
of
like
Capcom
the way it
is.
looks.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's got
think-
like a grimy,
Yeah, it's got a
dirty.
grimy, dirty
like
shit.
if it was too
Also, they're putting-
lit up,
there's-
too pristine, it would take away
Everything we've
from.
seen
Think
had
of what
VHS
PT looks like
filters all
though.
over it.
Think what how
Yeah,
good
but
PT
everything
looks.
we've seen has VHS filters over it.
So
Exactly.
the
demo
PT
looked like
comparison
PT.
is a little frustrating for me because PT, no doubt PT looks unbelievably good, but that was a very, very, very small area that I think you could just like polish and polish and polish and polish until it looks like that. Whereas I think making an entire game, right, that you don't have that privilege of making something look that good. in those
Sure.
The
circumstances.
one biggest thing I want to get across too is action games are easier to show in as a trailer.
I agree.
It is easier to get on board and watch a trailer. Oh, that looks sick. That looks awesome. Resident Evil 7 and games like this, games like Outlast specifically, that is something you need to step into and play yourself. It is very much like I don't like watching somebody crawl through a scary environment. It's a hard sell as a trailer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like that is something you need to actually do yourself, whether it's in VR or not. turn off the lights, get in the zone.
Oh
like
my
it
God.
takes time to like get in the mood.
You
for
were
that.
so on point and totally correct, and I think that's why we went through and why we continually go through lulls with horror games, because they're so difficult to sell, they're so difficult to market, they're so difficult to differentiate, when you have to be there alone in the dark playing it to totally appreciate it. And I think fighting games are the same way, and sometimes it's frustrating that we live in such a marketing driven world where like you gotta sizzle good or you fade away, because there are just some things that don't lend themselves to that format, like Frame Trap, where you just kind of gotta let it soak,
Like there were so many fade-ins and fade-outs in that trailer because it's passing time.
Yeah.
Like
They were bad too.
the
They were not
idea,
great, yeah.
like Outlast has those moments too where you need to solve a problem and something is hunting you.
Yeah.
Like the tension that builds in those moments.
About time.
It's about time.
And so,
like,
Yeah.
oh my
what
god,
those
it freaks
games
me out.
do is, because they can't sell that, they show videos of people getting scared with like
Right.
weird night vision
Yeah.
on, and so then every game is like, well, that worked, so we'll do that, and it just becomes very one note, and then it creates the
My
problem all
favorite.
again.
That's one of my favorite things about PT, because the trailer was so stupid that we all
did show
wrote
you
it
night
off.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one that had night vision, we were all like, this looks stupid.
Yeah.
And then we played it and we're like, oh, we've been had. Like, this is great.
We are running against the clock a little bit, so I do want to move on if everybody's cool with that.
Resident Evil 7, just stay open-minded.
Stay open-minded.
We've been through
It's a
these
good message.
changes before. When Resident Evil 4 came out, I was upset.
You're still upset.
I admire.
I'm still upset, and it's one of my favorite games of all
Yeah.
time, though.
Sure.
You know? And I'm still a little upset. But
I admire Capcom's gutsiness, like willingness to try these new things. Because
Absolutely.
if somebody doesn't,
especially. And not rebooting.
Well, the best thing is,
as
like-
a fan, that just gets me real excited
Yeah.
to continue the journey.
My favorite thing about 4 is like Resident Evil 4 is amazing, and it kind of ruined horror games for a while.
Ben tried to move on.
So
Sorry,
I'm looking forward to how this will
We'll
ruin
talk about Resident Evil.
horror games.
And besides, play Resident Evil 6.5. It's called The Evil Within. If you want to get your
Evil Within is cool.
I love you with it.
My favorite part of Evil Within.
Tell me about it. Tell me.
Claire de
Perfect.
Lune.
I want to talk about Final Fantasy 15, and I want to talk about the delay to November. And so Hajime Tabata got out there and he said, hey, we want to bring this up to the standard that we want it to be at. We're going to delay it a couple of months. And he said, hey, if we do this, we're not going to need a huge day one patch. And kind of, not really as an apology, but in addition to this announcement, they showed off 50 minutes of gameplay footage, which I know you two are media blackout, so
Yeah,
I don't
no,
necessarily want to get into the
5-0.
details of that,
Yeah.
but I do want to talk generally about that footage in like what it means sort of way. But before we do that, just kind of get a reading on the room on, are you cool with this delay? Do you think it's justified? Do you think, are you disappointed in any way? Are you glad? How do you feel?
If the game performed well at E3 and the delay came, I'd be like, what's going on? WTF? But the reaction it got, I think, justified the delay.
Yeah.
The reaction the game got at E3, I think, justified this delay. And
It showed poorly.
yeah,
It comes out in November now or December?
November.
November.
Okay.
Protect your game. Protect it.
Absolutely.
Protect it. Way too high stakes. This is like
Yeah.
the highest stakes release, I think, of all time. 11 years now.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
it's like, it's Last Guardian style, though. I'm so scared of just, when do you ship? When do you ship? Like, will 2 months be the difference in this game that's
Absolutely.
been cooking for 11 years?
It's gonna
Like,
be one of the greats.
will this game, can it
I
possibly,
joking.
can
mean,
it possibly live up to people's expectations?
Something that I always worry about with games that, have been worked on for so long and gone through so much, and especially when they have this Final Fantasy 15 universe, so they have the movie, they have the anime, I worry that they feel like they have to overcompensate, and because of that worry of like, no, we have to meet this expectations, like people are going all in on this, that it becomes about the spectacle more than anything else. And to me, that's not what Final Fantasy is. Like, Final Fantasy has always had a ton of spectacle, but there's that human element, right, that really connects with you and makes you cling to it. And watching the 50 minutes of footage, again, I will not get into any specifics, don't worry. something that I loved and I think really worked in that footage is the relationship between these men and how
so
they
pumped.
communicated with each other and how they bounced off of each other, and just even doing mundane, trivial things. The banter that they would have back and forth, like, it would put a smile on your face, or it would reveal just a slight thing about them. And I'm like, I'm going to be able to like this game in spite of, if it does have problems, in spite of those problems, if that element just gets better and better and
It's
better.
hilarious, man.
Yeah.
After seeing Kingsglaive last night on the way home, I was like thinking about the game, and I was like, even if this game is a train wreck, I'm so hyped about the story and like being in that world with the characters. Like, if that shines through and is good, then it'll all be worth it for me. I'm glad you're the video 50 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you hyped on that?
And of course,
Sick.
it's hard to say anything definitively, even though that was a long period of time. Maybe it doesn't work as well in the actual game, or maybe it works even better. I don't know. But in that 15 minutes, I got a sense of their relationship, and I think that was incredible, because I was worried that I would get the feeling of like, no, you have to watch the anime in order to appreciate this, but it totally stood on its own, and I wanted to see them interact more with each other.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You watched the whole 50 minutes?
I watched it last night at 3 a.m. And the thing is, I told myself and I told other people I'm not going to watch it, but we went to Kingsglaive last night, and there was a fan that said something. It was like the opposite of the effect that he wanted. He said, don't watch it because it reveals this. And then it just like planted a seed in my head where I'm like, well, now I have to know.
Now I have to.
And so I caved and I watched it. But don't watch that 15 minutes. It is extremely spoilery. Don't do that. But
we all make mistakes
we all
after
make
2 a.m.
mistakes.
It just happens.
It does.
That's what my dad says. He's like, never be out at 2 a.m. Only bad things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to commend. I've watched all 4 parts of the anime that have released so far, and I do encourage any of you that are interested in Final Fantasy 15, or even like have a passing interest, to check one of those out, because
Is the anime before Kingsglaive?
yes, well, yes,
timeline.
it's before Kingsglaive, because what it does
Okay.
is each individual episode focuses on a different character of that core party, and it goes into their backstory.
Cool.
So again, I don't
Pronto.
think it's necessary to appreciate them, but it shows, I think, how these characters aren't just, Final Fantasy characters with crazy abilities and warping around. Like, the problems that they go through, and I think the grace with like, the anime is not perfect, but it gets emotional at certain moments. And you're like, this is what Final Fantasy is about, and you kind of feel that essence.
Is it 2D?
I really like it.
I'm getting chills
And
thinking about
the
this game.
it's 2D, yeah. So it's
serious.
full on 2D
Full-on
anime.
straight up anime.
And the episodes aren't that long. They're only about 17 to 20 minutes.
When
so.
15 gets like high stakes, when any Final Fantasy gets high stakes, because you're so attached to those party members, and when like, they're going above and beyond who they are, they're changing as characters, they're protecting each other.
Yeah.
Side
Like,
bet.
now that you're focused on just 4 instead of a huge cast, like, we are gonna wouldn't be surprised if they just love these characters.
Side
Yeah.
bet.
How many will die?
Prompto will die sacrificing himself to save Noctis.
I hate these side bets. We can't ever redeem them.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
like
not
this.
a real side bet. I'm just saying I think it'll probably happen.
Prompto dies?
Prompto
No.
or Gladiolus?
They're all dying.
Ooh, what if they all
of them.
die?
Dude, if all of
Shakespearean
them
dude.
die, that would be sick.
Yeah.
Noctis.
My favorite thing about Final
Oh.
Fantasy 13 is the ending. I adore the ending of Final Fantasy 13.
Whisper it to me.
No, we will after the show. It's too. I can't. It's not like a.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
like
know.
a-
Yeah,
all right, let's
20
sit down.
minutes. Yeah,
I was,
20
just,
minutes.
I was just thinking that too. Just those
Yeah.
moments of like
Yeah.
the party vibe,
Yeah.
Party.
Party.
I'm not saying Final Fantasy 15 is going to be an incredible game. I'm not saying it's going to be a terrible
Kyle
game. I'm
is.
just saying there are things that I saw that, for me personally, really resonated and look super promising.
It's going to be an incredible game that we are lucky to witness.
Sure. Hey.
We are fortunate to give $60 to that game.
Yeah.
That's why I love Final Fantasy, because like
I love it.
it's got that Call of Duty budget
Might be the
for a
best Final
JRPG.
Yeah.
Like, JRPGs are traditionally
Low
low
budge.
to medium budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Final Fantasy, I feel like, is one of the only ones, like, not even Tales or Persona,
Oh, absolutely.
where
It's not
Final-
even close.
Yeah, not even close. Where just this JRPG blockbuster,
Train.
just
Yeah.
a massive
yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
And that's always exciting.
Will Square Enix go out of business if this game tanks?
No, they'll be fine, man.
Really?
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
publishing Deus Ex,
They've
Hitman.
suffered.
Oh yeah, I
Worse
suppose I
things.
They're
forgot
making
about
money.
that. I forgot about that.
It is time to move on to emails.
I just want to talk about Resident Evil Final Fantasy forever.
So
I want to too.
Hotake's over.
The Hotake has officially ended unless you guys want to bring
I
up
was just
anything
gonna
else.
ask. Are we?
Kyle-
we're not
Kyle-
talking about Kingsglaive at all.
We can.
He's about to open an email.
No,
I feel
No,
bad.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
The people want to know about Kingsglaive, so maybe we'll
Narratively-
sacrifice some email time for Kingsglaive.
All I have to say is narratively bizarre and visually incomprehensible.
Give it a score.
3 out of 10.
Okay.
But theater going experience 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like
Like
I had a
Jupiter Ascending,
blast.
dude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
a
had
Jupiter
a
Ascending vibe.
blast. I loved this movie.
Yes.
It is terrible.
It is terrible, and I loved
I
it.
loved it. It made no sense. Visually, like, I've never seen a movie so visually terrible in my entire... No, the graphics looked great. I'm just saying, like, the way that the shots
Yeah.
and the camera moved and the editing, there were parts where
Made
you literally...
Makes green grass look
Yeah.
sterile.
makes Greengrass looks like he shoots everything on sticks. Like, there were times where you literally could barely discern what was going on screen.
Sticks is an industry term for tripod.
Tripod. It's when the camera doesn't... Like, this show is shot on sticks because the camera never moves. We ain't greengrassing all over the place.
Put it on
It's
sticks.
Kingsglaive.
Something that was frustrating about Kingsglaive is you always got the sense that a video game was attached, that there was information, like they would hint at something, or they would mention something, or they would dig in just a little bit into and then move on like very, very quickly. And you're like, no, wait, you gotta give a little bit more time to that. Where I think the people making this movie are like, well, that's that's in the game. It'll be.
I feel like watch it in a foreign language if you can.
It would probably make it better.
It would
yeah.
make it way better
Yeah.
because some of the voice acting was beyond terrible, which
Yeah, it
was
was beyond
surprising.
terrible. But
for such
like-
a high budget anime
I don't think
CG
I've ever
movie,
hated a character as much as I hate Libertalis. Or
Crutches guy?
Yeah.
But the thing
worst.
is,
I
the
hate
heavy
him.
hitters were good.
Aaron
Sean
Paul was
Bean.
solid.
Sean Bean was
10 out of
probably the
10.
highlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Bean was the highlight.
Yeah.
And the Chancellor guy.
But there were
With the crow arm.
so many. Oh,
Ugh.
Chancer was the best. For sure.
He wears this like leather
Yeah.
crow arm.
He was
Incredible.
so cool.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Every
but
time he was
he's
on the
good- he's
screen,
end
I
up
was like,
for
"You're
sure.
stealing this movie
Yeah.
right now."
And it's like not good. It's just like fun to watch this moron.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh man.
I think there were things in that movie that could have been really good that were just presented at like the worst possible moments. So the main character Nyx is escorting a princess, and she has this hairpin in that was given to her as a gift. And he's like, wait, let me see that hairpin. And he's like, that's a tracking device. And by the way, while this is going on, they're being attacked by Diamond Weapon, this giant monster that's destroying everything. And he's looking, he says this, he's like, I think that might be a tracking device. And then he looks at
Which
it.
you already knew.
And then they
which is
like
fine.
sit down and a piano starts playing and he goes into like this really tragic story about his sister.
No, it was the timing though.
No.
It was
Yeah,
like
that's what
he
I'm saying.
starts total
He says-
silence, and it's
yeah.
like, "Let me tell you about my sister."
Right.
Everyone in the theater started cracking up. But you didn't hear what he said about her.
It's like you want that story. You want to know more about this character. It's just like, why slot this in here at exactly this moment? It was really bizarre. I mean,
very weird.
that's just one thing to pluck out. But
There were just so many times when the audience laughed at it
Yeah.
because of just the dialogue, the deliveries, the timing of things. So I think watching it in a foreign language would help ease
With your friends.
pain. Yeah.
Don't watch this movie alone.
with
But
all
again,
that-
I came out like
Yeah.
Ian said, it's a 3 out of 10. But I came out hyped up. I was out of control hyped.
that's what I was just
I
gonna say.
wanted to play the
you
game.
like sprinted out of the
Yeah,
theater.
I was just like ready to go. I didn't sleep for the next like 5 hours because I had so much energy from just the vibe of this movie. It was just this train wreck, and I loved it.
For all my misgivings about the film, there were enough seeds planted that I want to know more about that world.
Yeah.
I think there are some interesting ideas there that could play out really well in the game, and that has me more excited than I've ever
And I
been.
super need to buy an Audi.
So
And Beats,
Beats
by Dre.
All right.
Beats by Dre and Audi's in the game.
Get that
You
money.
know, Ian, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad we got some Kingsglaive.
I just feel like we
Kingsglaive
had to
talk.
mention
We
it.
had to. We had to mention
to.
it. Totally. You're
It's
too
too glorious not to talk about.
Are we ready for
Yeah.
emails? Are we good? Do we
Ready
feel,
for
feel good?
emails.
Kyle, I have to ask, do you feel unfilled by the HOTTAKE? Did you want more HOTTAKE?
I don't think any of us spit any controversial opinions is the problem.
Okay.
I feel like I said some like
you know,
politically
I think that's like
charged
a
stuff.
a running gag of the show is
Somebody's-
multiple times they'll say, "All right, it's gonna get heated," and they're
And then
like,
it
"Yeah, I
doesn't.
see your point."
Somebody
yeah.
threw some shade
Yeah.
at Resident Evil 7. Just give it to me.
I,
It looks
does
like
look bad.
Atlas.
It looks bad.
It looks bad.
I think I like the way
It looks like a cheap bad game.
You're right. I
I
can't
can say
argue
something
it.
real controversial.
It does look
Yeah,
not very good.
Well, let's do it. Let's,
Visually.
There we go.
let's drop some bombs.
Here's a controversial. It's an anecdote, not really related to this, but it was a moment that I had that was very sad to myself. I saw someone linked on my Facebook an article about a guy who was writing into r/legal advice. And the story starts with him saying, like, a year ago I had a minor DV incident with my girlfriend where I hit her. So he's already underselling, like, domestic violence.
Okay.
DV.
Domestic violence, right. And he
Wow.
goes
So
on
even
to
to
this,
abbreviate it is already being
right,
too
yeah,
flippant.
yeah.
I get
But,
that.
like, he goes on to say, like, all this stuff about how they moved 2 months ago, and she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll handle the rent. I'll handle the lease. I've got all the bills. Like, don't sweat it. I've got it under control, right?" So then he's like, "A couple weeks ago, we got into an argument. The police were called, and nothing happened. Everything's fine. It was just verbal, whatever. And now a lawyer called me. She's not at home, and a lawyer called me and told me I have 45 days to get out of the house because I'm a sublessee, and I'm legally not involved in this apartment whatsoever. The landlord doesn't even know I'm there, and she's technically the landlord." And then he's just like, can and the lawyer has to go on a thing, like a walkthrough of this apartment, whatever, tra la la, and he's like, "Can she do this? Is this kosher?" And so, like, the reason it was linked was because the comments section didn't turn to vile garbage. Literally every single person in the comments section was just like, "No, yeah, she's a badass and correct, and she did this in the best possible way, and you are an abusive monster and should seek help."
Millennials.
And like you've done you're the bad guy here. And he's like, "No, but she can't just do this." And they're like, "No, she absolutely can, and she's doing the best possible way to do this because it sounds like things were risky for her, and the most dangerous time in leaving a violent relationship is the end." Like when you say I'm leaving, because you know the guy gets all controlling
Scary.
and upset, yeah, and scary,
So scary.
And so like the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm sorry this is taking so long, but like the reason I'm bringing this up is I was shocked and amazed that no one in the comments section turned against a woman automatically and said they wanted to rape and murder her. Whereas like, and I'm like, we live in a world where that shocks me. It makes me very depressed, and I'm just like. In the internet, it's terrifying, and
taking
I
a
like
turn on there
where I was like
for the good.
where I was impressed at a comment section for not turning vile, like they're going to on me for saying this.
No,
like-
the allies.
No, the allies
Love
are
and
great.
respect.
Actually, yeah, our community is by and large wonderful, but like, so I'm not directing this at the viewers. I'm saying like it was shocking to me and refreshing, but in a sad way. Can something be like depressingly refreshing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, look at this as good.
Yeah,
It's changing.
Maybe we're moving toward that. You
Yeah.
know.
I do think that our community is really good, though. They have
I agree.
interesting questions always. They always
Like
just submit-
emails?
Yeah, yeah.
Kyle's trying to bail us out.
Ian, I love you, but when we were like, there were no controversial opinions on that, I was like, oh man, Ian's got the best controversial opinion on one of these 3 games that we talked
Yeah.
about. And I'm like, whoa, we're launching somewhere else. I guess.
I'm like,
We're just
Gamergate is bad. Haha.
We're going somewhere else.
Hate me on Twitter. Tell me to kill myself.
No, hey, it's all right, man. It's all right. It's all right. Our first email
Controversy.
comes in from
I hope it's
Phoenix
ours anyway.
Doss. Says,
I
hey
like the
guys, I
other
was
one
on
you
Reddit
had."
recently. No, hey allies, you know most successful games usually have clones made after them, like Mortal Kombat had Way of the Warrior and others. What's your favorite clone game?
Good
Mine,
question.
yeah, this is a great question. Mine is Skitchin on Genesis.
Yes!
Kitchen!
I love Skitchin!
Yes!
I love Skitchin!
Yes!
Oh my god!
Hi.
Skitchin rules.
It was a clone of Road Rash,
Yes.
but on rollerblades.
Skitchin is
God,
so
Skitchin.
good.
So I guess Skitchin might be your favorite
Skitchin
clone
is
game.
so
Kitchen rules. It
Let's play
rules.
Skitchin for real.
Sure.
I got an easy answer to this one. It's Crash Team Racing. This is the Crash Bandicoot kart game that holds up and it competes with the best of Mario Karts. It's a very, very good game.
Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed, also very good.
Sure.
Kind of going along the same lines, I really like Diddy Kong Racing
Sure.
as well. Or
I'm gonna cheat on this kind of. I'm gonna say Yakuza Shenmue clone.
Oh, that's cheating.
I don't even
Come
think
on,
that's
man.
I don't even think that's accurate. But sure.
I just want to talk
Would
about
Mortal
Yakuza.
You want to talk
Kombat
about
be a
yeah?
Street Fighter
You got Shenmue and Yakuza in
Yeah.
there.
Boom.
Like a
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I definitely feel like there's been times though where I've said like, hey, even if it's a bad version of this game, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of?
I
What
know,
are those
I know,
types
I know.
of games?
This is tough. This is tricky.
It's a cool question.
I feel like there's so many in the beat 'em up genre.
Dark Forces, I think, counts as a Doom kind of clone.
Quake was kind of a Doom clone. I mean, everything was
No.
kind of a Doom clone.
Yeah, there were so many coming out, dude.
I don't think Quake counts.
I mean, I guess that's where
Quake's
you draw
a
the
little
line,
different,
because like Mortal Kombat sort of came after Street Fighter, right?
yeah, but I
They're
mean,
so
I
different
think
now.
No, I
being
know,
in the-
but like they're different intentionally. They're like, we're gonna be the super gory version of Street Fighter. You know what I mean? So it's like, where do you draw that line? Chex Quest. I loved Chex Quest with all my heart, and that is a Doom clone, and I loved it, and it's based on cereal.
They're remastering Chex Quest.
What?
How cool is that? Yeah, I think like
Really?
the original guy, the original dude who made that.
Full
is like-
playthrough.
Oh,
Ian
full
Hank.
playthrough. Full playthrough Chex Quest.
It's actually a good game.
Dude, Chex Quest is awesome.
It's actually a good
I
game.
might be being unfair here, and I'm not. Might be. I am totally being unfair here, but I think the 2013 Tomb Raider,
Is a clone of what?
Itself?
very comparable to, not a clone of, but
Oh.
very comparable to Uncharted.
Yeah.
Not a clone of.
Oh, you're gonna get some comments for that.
Yeah, open up.
No,
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 they're
no.
all mad at me. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
They're all pissed at me now.
Someone's pissed about
the thing
Yakuza
is,
now.
the thing is I say that and like I immediately feel bad because that's totally inaccurate. So
They're so different.
yeah, you're right. They are so
so
different.
different.
They're so different.
Horizon is
I
a
think
clone
that was
of Tomb
trying to
Raider.
make something out of nothing.
It was yeah. I said Yakuza and Shenmue, man. Say
Sure,
what you want.
sure. I think I was reaching for something and I came to a bad place.
Our
Yeah.
reach alarm just went off.
I'm gonna say
That's our coffee.
Punisher, the beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The Punisher beat 'em up is very similar to Streets of Rage. They're very similar.
Okay. I hear the stretch alarm still going off right now.
It's a stretch.
Simpsons arcade
I'm
game
just-
is...
It's
Yeah, because it's a
stretch.
beat 'em up. Like if it's in a genre, it doesn't count as a clone.
I'm just sitting over here.
This is a hard
like,
question.
Still
It's a
feeling that.
really
It is
hard
really hard.
question.
It's a hard
I
question.
think we just keep failing at it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we've provided a ton of.
I
great-
feel emotionally upset.
Answers.
And,
Let's
and
get one.
I feel
Let's
bad for
work
like
as a group.
derailing this thing and making it all political and
What
weird.
what-
So I'm sorry about that.
It's I who asked for a HOTTAKE.
Yeah,
It's my fault, really.
controversy. And well, it was something I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Our next
Is
email.
Talos Principle a Portal clone?
No.
Okay.
No.
I never
No.
played Talos
No, see,
Principle.
this is just the point where we anger people. I think.
Sleeping Dogs,
I think
GTA
that-
clone.
Count it.
I'm gonna count that.
Count it.
Let's count that.
I don't know. Like, I get you, but I don't know.
This is so much easier in movies. Like Ants, better movie than Bug's Life.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Watch them again.
Banjo
I don't-
Kazooie
Is
Watch
it
it
really?
again.
Is Ants really a better movie than Bugs Life?
Bugs Life is not
No
a great
way.
No.
movie. Bugs
I
Life is
agree.
not
I
a
don't
great
think
movie.
I don't think either of them are that
Diddy
great.
Kong Racing.
We've come full circle. It's
Yeah.
just been.
Okay.
Wait,
Is
that
that-
was the
is that what you
that was
started?
the
That's what
one
Ben-
I said.
that's
Oh, okay.
Well, then
See,
besides
we've
Super
gone
Bowl.
all the way around.
Abort, bail out.
It's time for the next question.
Ripcord.
Thank you,
Our
Phoenix.
next email comes in from Alexander. It's titled "Enjoying Deaths." I don't like dying in games because I don't have much time to play and I want to move forward without losing progress. But when I played Doom's campaign, I found myself actually enjoying deaths because they gave me an opportunity to kill even more demons, which is super fun. Is there a time you've ever enjoyed dying in a video game?
Always.
Ben, can I tell you something behind the scenes?
Yes.
I got this one for the Easy Allies podcast. It didn't have time for it. It was on my short list of things I pulled.
Okay.
I'm so glad we got to this question. I love this question.
Kyle,
Nice.
I'm glad that we didn't have a repeat question, but that absolutely drives me insane when people, like, I get why they do it. I get when they're like, hey, I'm going to, ask my question on both the Easy Allies
Min-max.
podcast and Frame Trap to, like,
Yeah.
increase my chances. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't always have time to watch the Easy Allies podcast, and so
Oh,
I
and
don't
someday
always
we
know
might have the same
what
one.
questions there are. So there's going to be a time if people keep doing that where we just cover the same ground.
But it'll be different takes.
It will be different takes. It will
Yeah.
be different takes. I just
And hopefully at least
Yeah.
one panelist was on the
Terrified.
episode
yeah.
for the question.
Yeah, there's got to be overlap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I always love dying. This is a very big question for
Yes.
me.
Always love dying?
Yeah, like
no,
if
you
I-
don't. No, you don't.
If I don't...
Banner
No,
Saga.
you don't. No, so it has to do with stakes, and that's something that's so important to me in video games, where if I just plow through a game and I'm not dying, there's no risk, therefore there's no reward for me. Like, Witcher was kind of like that, where I was just so powerful that I didn't really care about combat. Combat was like, I just get through it, versus, Doom or like, it's why I play video games on hard. Is because when I die, it makes the world and everything I do that much more important. Especially with like games where you level up. If you're dying in a game where you level up, and like each time I level up, I feel more rewarded, I feel more powerful, and it's like more meaningful.
Do you ever feel cheated with death though, where like there's a
of
problem?
course.
Okay.
I mean, this could be an hour-long discussion because
Sure.
it's such a fine balance.
Absolutely.
Dying in a game like Dark Souls
Yeah,
versus
Dark
dying in a
Souls.
game like Ninja
I
Gaiden.
think what the question asks for, and I think what makes it slightly like even more interesting is like what was a time where your enjoyment of the game like dramatically improved because of something that death did? Like
Okay.
like a specific example you can pin it down.
Mm-hmm.
I loved dying here. And I think a game that springs to mind immediately for me is Super Meat Boy. Because that is a game where you're not supposed to die, but the way that it is structured is death is so expected that they make restarting instantaneously. They show you all of the different Meat Boys where you die. Like it's built into the process of playing the game and learning that like once you click with that, once you recognize it, that is part of the joy because most of the time death teaches you something and then you can just instantly react to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it makes that process enjoyable. If there was like a life system or something, or a delay between when you died and when you could respawn, I think it would be totally gone. So
The worst games to die, like Uncharted 4 or something, where it's like you die and then it means you just have to do something lame over again,
Mhm.
Or like a game where like you're at a frustrating part and the worst crime in a game to me is when you know what must be done to move forward and you just have to beat your head against a wall to do it. That's the worst. Whereas like Dark Souls, I know it feels like that to some people, but Dark Souls, I think every death is a lesson, and
Yep.
you grow.
Love dying in those
Yeah.
games.
Those are the ones that I like to die in. I don't know.
I think death is so cool in Dark Souls because when you don't die, you feel so good. It feels so good.
Well, and then there's
like
the
beating
tension.
a boss, nothing like beating a boss on the first try in a Souls game. Nothing like it. Going through that fog door, you've had the long journey to it, you're running low on items, you're running low on like recovery stuff. It's like, all right, let's do it, and just getting through that. Oh my god. And that's
My
because
favorite
all
too
of
is,
the
like,
deaths before.
After you've beaten a boss and you have like no healing items and really low health, and then there's that door,
Yep.
and you're like,
Yeah.
do I go through that door?
Yeah.
I'm carrying all the souls.
Yeah.
You don't do it. You
Yeah.
don't go through that door.
Well, like it's funny in Bloodborne, I beat the witch, and right after her, it's just one room, and you
Yeah.
get the rune and then leave.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I went all the way back to the dream, and then came all the way back just to walk down a hallway and get an item and then leave again. And I was like, oh,
funny.
but I was like, no, I made the right choice. I didn't regret it.
Yeah.
Just to answer real quick, I hate dying. I hate repeating things that I've done. I hate like getting better at that one moment. It's like it's less natural to me. It's less honest. And so yeah, to be honest with you, repeating segments is never a joy for me. Almost.
yeah,
But then-
I understand that.
What about
Like I get it. I get it.
Hate it.
Huh. Nidhogg. If you die, it means you won.
So you
Nice.
you like Jones says this. Jones loves feeling like a god in video games.
Sure, I can understand that.
I don't like. I think not dying cheapens it for me and feels unnatural because you're just so powerful.
Oh, I don't want to be so powerful.
Like you want to struggle but not die. I mean that's obviously the
No,
perfect
no.
balance.
Hating dying is good. It's
Yeah.
good that you hate to die.
This,
It's good that the path back through is painful. I just don't like doing that.
the moments when you die in a game and you have to hear characters repeat the same lines, or the worst is when you have to watch a rather lengthy cutscene and you can't skip it. Like, it just totally devalues that story moment.
Yeah.
Like, that story moment doesn't mean anything if it's just going to keep repeating. It loses the effect. It becomes hollow, and I do hate that very much. We're gonna just do one more email. I think we're gonna make the emails a little bit shorter today.
Okay.
Sorry.
We've got, unfortunately, we do have to shoot
time.
tabletop. It's still been a 2-hour episode, so it's still been a
We
You know
could
what
have
you should do,
done
man?
3 more emails if I didn't tell my Reddit story.
No, it's okay.
Now I
Ben,
know
you
what
should do
DV is.
you should do an all email
Don't
episode
pause.
one time.
Yeah, I think we are gonna do
Mailbag.
that. Once we get to a milestone, or
Nice.
if there's a slow week, definitely an all email episode is something I'm thinking of. So,
There are going to be
yes.
no more slow weeks for the rest of the year, though. This year's so good.
But even if we hold off on an all email episode till like January,
Yeah.
totally okay with
I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
September is kind of slow this year, randomly.
now it is.
Yeah.
it got a lot more
Yeah.
slow. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, October, November.
October will be slow once Last Guardian is delayed again.
Our last
VR,
question
Oh yeah, right.
is from Etienne.
No,
Probably-
Etienne.
Etienne. Okay, thank you, Ian. You're gonna love this one, Kyle. Hey, Easy Allies. I've always been a console gamer, but lately I've been on the fence. This is because PCs are outperforming consoles in terms of graphics and frame rates, and experiences like VR look better on PC. PCs also have a larger library of cheaper games and overall seem like the better value proposition. This is a 3-part question. Have any of you found yourself transitioning to playing more games on PC versus a console? What is your best argument for remaining a console game if you have one? You don't have to have one. Lastly, what VR headset are you guys most excited for?
This is a question I love
Yeah,
because
this is a brutal question.
I bought a big, expensive PC
Yeah.
when we started doing this whole stuff so I can edit at home. And now I have the capabilities of running high-end computer games at frame rates you couldn't imagine. And I don't.
So smug.
I still buy them on my
So
console.
smug.
My friend was so mad at me.
I
And
had the exact opposite experience.
yeah, I could be paying them. I could be buying cheaper games. It's like, oh, look at Steam, man. All these games are $2. It's like I don't do it. I have it. It's there. And I just don't care for it. I don't
We
care
gotta
for
get you a PC exclusive
You need a
game.
better
We gotta
chair.
get you
So,
into like
why?
when I
Blizzard.
played Inside, it was on the PC. I bought it on PC and hooked it up to my TV,
Yeah.
and like that was that. I did that.
Why do you prefer playing games on console?
That's a terrific question. I guess I have an inner hatred for the PC, a distrust. If I right click on something in the start menu and the menu doesn't appear, just because like, hey man, that's just Windows right now. If you refresh, it'll come back. That irritates me beyond belief. There's just so many weird little PC-ness of an operating system, of just things that don't work. I've just grew up throughout my entire life with PCs that didn't work. Getting a PC game for Christmas that won't run on my computer and not being able to understand why not. Like, just having that throughout my entire life has just warped my mind into thinking this is an evil machine that sits in my living room. It's going to break. This thing will break eventually. Everything on it will go away, and I have to just buy a new one.
I have the most love-hate relationship with PC. It's kind of like Nintendo, actually.
Sure.
That's just a hate relationship.
Yeah, I love Nintendo. To just
Hey, I love Nintendo. That sounds like a politician.
I am not a crook.
That sounds like when
love
Donald Trump
Nintendo.
says, believe me. You just like tacked it onto a
Yeah,
You're just like, nope, I
believe
don't.
me.
I know Nintendo.
grew up with PCs. For people that don't know the story, Rainbow Six 1 was a life-changing moment where I couldn't run the game. I bought the game. I didn't know why the hell not, why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Did the research, had to go buy a NVIDIA GT something or other. I forget which one it was. It was a long time ago. Bought a graphics card and didn't look back. And that really changed my life and the way I looked at games for a long time, because I was playing things like Counter-Strike, StarCraft, playing vastly superior versions of games that, like, Max Payne is a huge example of the PC version versus the PS2 version when it came out, or Half-Life or Deus Ex, a number of games where the PC version was so far ahead of the console version that I played everything on PC except console exclusives. And it is a completely different thing today, where console now is the main focus and PC is an afterthought. And that's just the way it is. Like, PC apologists will say otherwise, will say, oh, the PC version's better, it's better, it's better. Like, Deus Ex Mankind Divided coming out is such a prime example where that core team is working on the console version, and a third party that isn't even in the same building is working on the PC version.
Whereas the heritage was we're building this game on PC. Yeah, I get that.
And that just feels so wrong to me. It's upsetting. So, and another a big thing too is online. Like PCs used to be this online place, whereas consoles weren't, and that was a place to hang out in Vent, hang out in Battle.net, and that. Whereas now, when I play a PC game, sometimes I feel more disconnected from my friends in a weird way. Like when I'm on Steam, I only have a couple buddies on there, and it feels more of a personal, closed-off thing than when I'm on PSN and my friends list is popping off, and there's like 40 people online. There's way more people online PSN than my Steam's list. That cannot be argued.
No, I'm not arguing it. I'm not arguing it. I'm saying
Coming to you, Ben.
I'm saying
like,
that's an issue. That's an issue of engagement, right? Like when I get on
Personal
Steam,
engagement.
there are more people on my Steam's list just because I've added more. Like, that's a very anecdotal thing.
But
I do agree that PC games, like, it feels like you weirdly have like so many friends lists to manage. Like I've got a Battle.net friends list, Steam's friends list.
That's
like,
what it
That's
is.
the thing.
Like
that
you've got
bothers
like
me.
so many different services with so many different friends lists.
Yeah.
That lack of unification can be a little frustrating sometimes.
Like
Totally.
I didn't.
Well
I was going to
Well
buy.
done.
I was going to buy Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and then straight up didn't because I didn't want to get Origin because I was like, I just don't
Sure.
want another stupid thing.
Yeah, when you've got 10 of them already, adding
Yeah.
another one.
And I can't remember the last time I heard where like we've heard so many horror stories of PC versions broken, Arkham Knight broken, like No Man's Sky
But
broken.
not even just like broken where it's like frustratingly inferior, unplayable. Like we have to
games.
take this off the store page
Yes.
because it doesn't work at
Yes.
all in
Yeah.
any capacity.
Yeah,
The funny.
it makes me sick.
funny thing with No Man's Sky is like Omar waited and got it on the PC thinking it's going to be way better on PC. I've been playing it, like I'm basically done with it on PS4, and it crashes with probably alarming frequency, maybe 6-7 times it's crashed on my PS4, but it runs great on there. Omar, like I was watching him play it and it ran like garbage. And like he has a good PC and it just like stuttery and like stuff didn't work and like it was and like obviously they've been trying to address that, but I was actually talking to Jason Wishnov yesterday about that issue, and he makes games. He made There Came an Echo and some other stuff, and he was saying like that's so weird to him because you're making these games on PCs, and then to test it on the PS4, it's like a thing. You got to like output it to the. I mean, I don't understand how any of this works, and don't go after him if I say this wrong. But like, you have to like output a version and then try it on the PS4, and it's just so weird. Like, why wouldn't it? This is my own thinking. Like, why wouldn't it just be better on the PC regardless?
I think PCs just have so many variables.
Yes.
because there are
that's
too
what
many
it is.
variables.
It's
Yeah,
like when
that's what I
Respawn was
thinking.
talking about Titanfall 2 and why the beta right now isn't on PC.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're not there yet. We're not testing all those variables with the game yet.
It's the same reason that Android phones get worse games because like they're all different.
I think you guys are bringing up a lot of very valid points and regarding the frustration of PC gaming. Absolutely, I do think the shitty console ports is terrible. I do think all the different services you have to get if you want to play a specific game can be very frustrating. Just it not working and you not knowing why is extremely frustrating. But it's getting to the point, like, I don't like the argument where game consoles are just plug and play because, like, I feel like across my Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Wii U, I have so many weird little problems specific to each individual console. Like, I really hate the eShop interface on Wii U. Like, I hate navigating it. It's a pain every time.
It's a nightmare.
I generally don't like the user interface on Xbox One. Like, just getting to my stuff sometimes feels like a huge hassle. For whatever reason, PSN can just be absolutely atrociously terrible and slow for no reason when none of my other services, other consoles, like, I think if you were to put it all on a piece of paper and do pluses and minuses, I think, like, my pluses and minuses for PC would probably be, like, very comparable to my pluses and minuses for each individual console.
I think the most logical decision is PC.
I agree.
It's the most logical. You want to play the best possible version of those games, and eventually those will be on PC.
Yeah, and the most games. Yeah, sometimes you'd have to wait. I mean, when I built my PC, I had the exact opposite thing of yours. I didn't turn my PS4 on for months.
Yeah.
Like until No Man's Sky came out.
Yeah. I mean, like the best version of Metal Gear Solid 5 is on PC.
Best version of Witcher 3 is on PC.
Right.
Best
And
version
so,
of Dragon's Dogma.
right, if you just love those
almost
things,
bought it like 4 times.
if you want that best version, that's on PC.
The other thing about PC that I really love is I think PC gets the best independent titles that are coming out all the time.
Yeah.
You get your Starbounds, you get your Slime
Yeah.
Ranchers.
They come to PS4 or Xbox One so late.
Yeah, and they're honestly, like 9 times out of 10, infinitely better
Yeah.
on PC. And I feel like you just have such a diversity of things on PC, way more so than you do on consoles.
Plus, you
generally.
can create things with
And
it
mods
too.
and
Yeah,
everything.
for sure.
Like you can
For
write
sure.
on it, you can make games on it, you can edit video on it. That's what gets me is when Premiere starts acting squirrely. I'm like,
Oh boy.
I've got a top of the line ass PC.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like it's not an editing PC with like $6,000 video cards, whatever, but like
Right.
attainable to a normal human being on a normal budget.
Yeah.
I've got about the bet. Like I don't have a 1070 or whatever, but I've got a 980, and like there's no I have 32 gigs of RAM. There's no reason Premiere shouldn't be running
Oh boy.
right now.
Gets me steamed.
It makes me very upset. I
Yeah.
get physically like ill. I'm like, why? What is wrong with you, Premiere? I love this program. Paying the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription was the best decision I've ever made. I love those programs. But when they don't work,
Yeah.
I get so depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm like you're struggling to play MP4 footage out of a Handycam? Like yeah, I get that this is an hour-long take, whatever, but like goddamn. This should not be hard for you.
Like, if it weren't for Blizzard, Ben, like, I don't know what the hell I would do on my PC, honestly. Like, real
What about
time.
Deus Ex?
What about
Deus Ex, of course,
Civilization?
I'm playing on
I mean, I guess
PC.
you're not a huge Civ guy.
Civ 6,
Yeah.
dude, I'm so jazzed.
Like, real time
There are a lot of great
strategy
things.
will always be home on the PC, and
Yeah,
like,
unquestionably.
it has its certain genres.
And I'm
But,
not
like,
I'm not
even
trying to come
shooters-
at you, but I feel like there are probably just a ton of weird little PC games that you should give a try and
Yeah.
see how you feel about them.
Like Banner Saga,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a
Kickstarter,
lot of
baby.
things like, Homeworld.
Darkest
Give it a
Dungeon,
shot.
played on PC.
Yeah.
Stanley Parable, I'm still waiting to play. That's
Stanley
one that
Parable is
everyone's just like,
fantastic.
dude, you would love Stanley
you would
Parable.
like Stan.
Yeah.
You would either love Stanley Parable or despise it.
Okay.
But
But I need to
'cause
play
you're
it.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you need to play that. You can play it in like an hour and 3. Yeah, that's actually kind of a long game. 4 hours maybe.
it's
Okay.
variable.
variable.
I have
could-
console games I have to get through first.
Oh.
Well,
It's just, Ben, don't you feel like
Bound,
somewhat
play
betrayed
Bound.
by the
Yeah.
industry? Because I know you grew up with
That's
with PC games. Don't you feel like like I'm speaking from the heart here, where like
Yeah, absolutely.
growing up with like Soldier of Fortune even on PC, like the glory freaking days of PC.
It
There's
is
no
the
betrayal,
thing
though.
is I don't think it's a betrayal. I just think it's a shift. I just think the way PC games come out and how they're perceived and what the market wants, it's just a different time. I don't necessarily think it is definitively worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well, and
some
it's
people
a-
would argue that Counter-Strike is better than it's ever been. I'm not saying I personally agree with that, but think about how much different Counter-Strike is today than it was back then, and it's because it's responding to what's going on.
Well,
right
and just
now.
like think about technology, like the glory days that you're describing of PCs, like when we all just built PCs in our bedrooms for fun or whatever, and go to LAN parties and stuff. Like
I miss LAN parties.
the console technology was here, and PCs spiked and were way up here, and then they were plateauing. But consoles, the technology
Yeah.
has been going up, and they're
Online.
like, they're like basically on par for the normal, stuff. Like consoles are maybe a little under
But there's-
PCs, but like.
There's almost never a PC game now where you'd say there's no way you could see that on a console.
Right, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause they gotta put it on console.
'Cause
Crisis
well,
back in the
that's-
day, Crisis 1.
that's the thing now is that because the technology went in that way and the pricing is such that you can buy a PS4 for $300 or $400 whatever, and a PC like entry level PC that to get on par with a PS4, I don't know, $700 low end,
Ugh.
like, and that computer would not be good, and
Yeah.
it would be outmoded almost instantly, like it already is because you spent $700 on like paying twice the amount for a worse machine. It doesn't make sense. So like the consoles, like obviously more people have access to consoles, so they've got to make games for consoles. And so it's like a win. It's like a kind of a, you gotta the devil kind of a situation where like I would rather have video games exist and be geared toward consoles because they got to make their money back because more people have consoles than for them to just say like, no, high-end machines only, like whatever it would be. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a drag that like our PCs aren't being utilized because games are made for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. But on the other hand, it's like that game exists. I don't know.
People are trying to make money.
People got to make money. That's the sad
the
thing.
Battlefield numbers were staggering to me. It was like 10%, I think, or like 8% of Battlefield 4 players were PC.
Wow.
And Battlefield
That's
is like
big.
such a PC franchise.
But the thing is like, yes, totally, I get that, and I understand that legacy, but it's like, Battlefield comes out, and let's say it's great on PC, and it's great on consoles. Like, doesn't everybody win? Isn't it better for this thing to grow and thrive in all environments?
Of course.
Than to just double down on something for the sake of it, you know what I mean?
Heck,
I'm
the
not
thing-
The thing that bums me out
if the
about
PC version comes out and it sucks, that's a totally different
right.
story.
Yes.
The thing that bums me out is like, I mean, I haven't played the
Yeah,
Overwatch
Battlefield 4 on PC.
PS4 version, but like
Broken.
Overwatch is great on PC. I've heard decent things about it on PS4, but it split my friend group. Like
Yeah.
half of my friends are playing it on PS4, and I just never am gonna play with them.
Yep.
And that's kind of a bummer. And like, yeah, you can't really play Twitch shooters on console and PC.
It would be
It would be a
ridiculous.
disaster. Like,
Yep.
yeah, but that kind of sucks. But whatever. What were
Man.
the other things? VR. There were like three
VR.
other prongs to this
Oh,
question.
what VR headset are you most looking forward
Yeah.
to?
I mean, the Vive is the best one from what I've experienced, but the PSVR is going to be the most attainable.
And most supported, I would say. Not by
Yeah.
facts, not by numbers, but by well-packaged games, I would say.
It will be which? The PSVR?
PSVR. Yeah.
Those
I think
Sony
it'll-
exclux.
I think
Yeah.
it'll
Exclutes.
like
Get those
at-
exclutes.
out the gate. It'll probably have good support, but I think a lot of them are going to be late.
Guys,
One cool thing is Bound is getting a VR update the minute VR
Yeah.
comes out. That's cool.
Right.
So back to Resident Evil
That's
7,
already
now that
cooler
we're
than,
talking about
cooler than
VR.
most of the stuff on Vive,
Yeah, but I just think it's going to be which one has better games, and eventually none of them will. So
I think I'm excited for PSVR. Not necessarily that I think it's going to be the best VR experience, but like Kyle said, I think that's where a lot of the deals are going to be made for franchises that I really care about.
That's where Resident Evil 7 is.
Right.
But I'm
That's where
worried.
I am.
you're going to play the
I-
shit out of that.
I know.
This is an unfair comparison that I think you could easily counter, but I'm worried that the PlayStation VR is going to feel a lot like the Move, where because of install base,
Yeah,
they're only going to be able to half support it, and because of that half support, it's eventually just going to fall off and die.
that's what I 100% think will happen.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
It's very expensive.
If
And
they
I,
wanted
like,
it to,
It's
if they wanted it to be a
so
huge
much.
success, they would have had to find a way to get it at $200. I think.
Are they
that's
sold out
the
for a
price
while?
point.
Like through the year?
Oh, I mean,
Like, am I able to get one?
so I was at a GameStop, and they said, yeah, we're doing pre-orders. Tomorrow morning we're going to open up, and we have 2. And so I think that they just didn't have a lot of pre-orders. They just didn't put out a lot.
Yeah.
And so maybe they didn't know how many they're actually shipping this year. I think they're going to be pretty hard to find.
I just need one by January. January 24th.
Yep.
That's the thing is like
I'm
it's,
waiting until then to buy one.
it's gonna be a weird mad rush to get them, and then there's gonna be nothing to do with it.
Batman.
Batman.
Which Batman?
Batman VR.
Batman VR.
Yeah, that'll be like an hour-long thing.
It'll be 3. But I will spend probably 20 in there.
Yeah.
It's very cool to be
If
Batman.
Eve Valkyrie is a launch title for the PSVR, that'll be really good for them.
Yeah, I
But,
think it is.
Yeah.
if you want to send in a question, please email askeasyallies@gmail.com. Thank you guys so
Just
much,
existing
panel,
might offend
for being as impassioned and interesting and unwieldy as always. I appreciate it. If you want to find more about us, go to easyallies.com. You can see all of the latest videos that we've posted on YouTube. We're there. You can see our Twitch stream schedule, all that good stuff. Please go to easyallies.com. And if you would like to support us, help us continue what we're doing, if you like what you see, please consider supporting us on Patreon. But until next time.